We've got big points to hand out. We've got a feature race coming up. We go green from Sonoma. Good jump by Atkinson. Swindell, oh no, I say that, and it looks like Atkinson's been turned around in the Yokohama car. Absolute carnage. The entire field behind P3 is into the wall.
Well, that means that, well, Baccarud, I think, is at the front of your field.
So, yeah, so it looks like Andreas Baccarud leads incredibly. And we're just trying to figure out who is behind. It looks like Sage Karam has made his way to second, just like Daytona that we had for round number 1. Kevin Swindell in third. Behind them, I just saw Connor Martell. There he is in shot. Scott Speed is out of the race. That's critical for the championship.
It certainly is, and this is the opportunity that Sage Karam needs. Oh, we've lost Brendan Semenuk as well from this race. So 2 drivers retiring, so we've only got 8 cars out there right now for this one. 10 laps of action here, and well, that was a dramatic start.
And here's a replay going on. So this is of the start. Just as we're hearing that, we think Martell's taken the Joker, and he's into the first position. So the start here continues. We'll have a look at that later anyway. So here's the battle for the lead. So it's Martell from Baccarud. Sage Karam's right behind. We're still unsure who's going to win this feature race. Karam makes his way past Baccarud. Slow down for Kevin Swindell in fourth, but a critical pass by Sage Karam, who makes his way up to second. Baccarud doesn't take to the Joker, so he's still got that up his sleeve. But you have to say, at this stage of the race, Paul, Sage Karam looks favourite.
He's certainly a strong one, that's for sure, as they head into the carousel once again, sliding this car through. So Connor Martell, as we mentioned, he's taking the Joker. You can see that in the banner on the left-hand side. The Joker symbol is lit up, meaning he's taken that Joker lap. Right now, the question is here, and, well, the question here for you, Jonathan, is when do you take that Joker lap? Well, Sage Karam's pulling the trigger. He's going now.
Good decision, I think. Karam to the lead, and he might never look back as he takes the lead from Connor Martell. We are watching here. Is that Tyler Meninga, I believe, as he heads over the jump and across the start-finish straight, right behind Chris Atkinson. Chris Atkinson, remember at the start, I wasn't sure if it was definitely him. There's only one Yokohama car, but he had a bit of a technical issue, Paul, so he may have been blinking in and out, which caused the drivers to wreck around the Aussie as our race leader makes his way through. Look at the lead advantage he's got on Baccarud. And remember, Baccarud's yet to take the Joker, and he's still going to save it, I think, for the final lap.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing that Baccarud can do right now is just try and close up as much of a gap as possible to Sage, and to try and get that to a minimal gap. I mean, it's what, about 3.5 seconds at the moment, as we're seeing Martell, and that's Karam then. That's the moment that Sage Karam took the lead of this race.
Recently got engaged in July this year, and Sage Karam said he never realized how much planning actually goes into a wedding. He's figured that out. And
so this is a mistake there, right there. Connor Martell, that's how he ended up in third place here, and that's how it allowed Andreas Baccarud into second.
Yep, so that was the replay up on screen there as Connor Martell ends up behind Andreas Baccarud. This would be a brilliant performance from the Norwegian. He's got a string of second and third places.
Oh, Sage Karam!
Oh, Sage Karam's off! That's Sage Karam in the shot! That's your race leader! He's going to hand the advantage. Well, yeah, he's going to hand the advantage to Andreas Baccarud. The Norwegian's now in the first position. What in the world did we just see?
He clipped one of the anti-cut curbs, it spun him around. Oh, he had to be careful of not hitting Andreas, and well, he just could not get that car back straight, so he's down to 4th place in this race. He's no joke lap. Swindell, Kevin Swindell, who's around? I was about to say, he's yet to take his Joker lap here. Well, who's going to end up in these podium positions.
I'm looking at live timing and scoring, and Connor Martel, and the pictures don't deceive me. He's ready to potentially take a win, but remember, Baccarood's got the Joker lap up his sleeve. I would take it this time by, but he continues onwards and to the jump and across the drag strip yet another time. There's only a few laps remaining here, so it's Martel second. Sage Karam is about, I would say, 3-4 seconds behind at the moment, and in the third position. And if anything goes wrong between Baccarood and Martel, he's ready to reclaim first, but that is a fatal error for Sage Karam, and his chances are dashed.
But this also goes to show why those anti-cut curbs are in place there. Baccarood seems to be a little bit slow there. He had to take 2 attempts at going through to get onto the bowling alley, and Connor Martel is right there. We know that Baccarood's yet to take his Joker lap. Baccarood just, is he playing with him? Or is he really this slow?
Just remember, Baccarood does race in Europe a lot. And here's Martel going for the lead. This is not good for the Norwegian.
I think he's got damage.
Well, look at this S2S snake driving. Baccarood tries to find his way past. But remember, Baccarood's used to taking the Joker normally on the final lap. That's what you normally do from the lead, as he's got to slow down here. So for Baccarood, what that means is, as we see another driver off here in the back of the pack, but for Baccarood, that's critical. We think he's going to take the Joker this time by. Here's a replay. So that's Atkinson and Meninga. Baccarood in the background to the Joker. He's going to reclaim the lead ahead of Connor Martel. Here it is up on screen. And they're going to be alongside each other here with a couple laps to go. Martel tries to make the bump and run work, but into the carousel, it's Baccarood into P1.
And this is the final lap as well, so they've crossed the line to start the final lap. And I think Baccarood is just going to have enough. Martel throwing it to the inside, trying to make it work. Not going to quite happen. Try the cutback. Look at this. He's got the inside contact.
Contact between the two. Baccarood's been sent into the wall. And the stewards will certainly be looking at that. But it looks like Connor Martel is going to take victory unofficially at least. Sage Karam's right behind in second. Baccarood falls down to third with barely a Subaru there across the line. What an absolute scrap to win this race. That was indeed the final lap. Checkered flag comes out officially with the rest of your field behind. Wherever you are around the world, strap on tightly and enjoy the ride. Nine rounds of wheel-to-wheel action, 28 drivers. This is the iRacing Rallycross World Championship. Every week we've enjoyed our All-Stars going at it. Boy, has it been good to watch. It's all going to continue again today from a racetrack some of our All-Stars have battled at in the world of motorsport and in rallycross action, as we welcome you to Lucas Oil Raceway. It's located just a 10 minutes drive from the Brickyard at 16th Street, Indianapolis. It hosts the 6th round of the 2020 iRacing Rallycross All-Star Invitational presented by Yokohama. All coverage today is on the iRacing Esports Network. From Jonathan Simon, I've returned in the commentary booth. I'm alongside Paul Smith. You get to see our handsome faces, at least I like to think handsome, Paul, for the first time.
Yeah, it's great to be along here, and hello everybody. I hope you all enjoy this show. I'm looking forward to this because these All-Star Invitationals, they're always a lot of fun to watch and to commentate on. So I'm really G'd up. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, we've got big names from Andreas Backerud in the world of the FIA World Rallycross. You've also got Scott Speed, who has won 4 American Rallycross titles himself. 3 of them were in GRC. He clean swept this event back in 2017. It was the only time we visited this circuit in Red Bull GRC. He won every heat, the semi-final and the feature, en route to his 3rd championship in a row. And it's time to look at the track for you. It's an interesting one here from Lucas Oil. It's 1.27 kilometers in length, so 0.7 miles depending on your units of choice. It's anti-clockwise, 6 corners around the circuit that we said that hosted Red Bull GRC back in 2017. But Paul, look at the Joker Delta time. That is very interesting. Only 0.2 of a second, the shortest we've had in our entire season.
Yeah, you don't really gain much of a time advantage around here. It's more about the line into turn 1, but one of the problems with that turn 1 is the fact that it really narrows down into there. So you go from being on the oval, and it all acts as a pinch point into there. So these drivers are going to have a bit of an issue at the start of the race, making it through there unscathed.
The 52% asphalt, 48% dirt split. It's the closest to having more than a 50% dirt split. But as we visited at Sonoma, Sonoma's the only circuit where it has more than that 50% dirt split. It's an interesting one, Lucas Oil. Some of the drivers think it's one of the easiest to overtake out of all our venues on the Rallycross schedule. Others argue differently, especially turn 1, where we saw Mitchell de Jong, who's going to race in our Sim Racers World Championship in an hour. Paul, when he raced here in 2017, he was involved in an accident with Chris Atkinson. And don't forget, Chris Atkinson is in our All-Stars field here today.
Yeah.
Patrick Sandell went up the inside, clouted into the side of Atkinson. De Jong had nowhere to go, and that's a typical accident we have here at turn 1 at Lucas Oil.
Yeah, it certainly is something. As you can see the qualifying times up on the left-hand side of your screen there. But really, these drivers, they really do have to look at how they can try and get a good line in through that turn 1. But yeah, can have issues around here, not just at turn 1 though, on the dirt section as well is a really challenging part of the circuit as well. So yeah, these drivers, some of them know it better than others. A couple of them are commenting in the actual driver chat as well about how a couple of them are not liking time around here.
Tim Stevens fared very well around here when he raced in the Subaru All-Star Invitational. That was earlier in the year. He's qualified 6th. Should be a good starting spot for him. Great performance by Backerud in qualifying. But Scott Speed wins our Yokohama Pole Award. Now he will officially claim the Yokohama Pole Award for the season. Nobody else can beat him. Only Conor Martel for round number 4 at Hell Lunkenbanen in Norway. He was the only driver to beat Scott Speed. And now Scott Speed's got 5 of them to his name. And there he is. He's going to start from the front here from Lucas Oil alongside Martel, the only other pole sitter. We welcome back Ron Capps and Lane Vakela. Ron Capps was out at a charity event last week. And that was a karting event, actually, at Sonoma, while we raced at Sonoma. And he's back here today. Lane Vakela was racing in the Legends Worlds Finals at Atlanta. He was alongside Garrett Lowe, who's going to race in our Sim Racers Championship. And we welcome back Mikey Lawrence, who's going to make yet another appearance here in the All-Star Invitational. So the format for today, we're going to have 3 heats, a Marwin Sports LCQ, and we are going to have a feature race later on, ready to kick off action yet again here from Lucas Oil Raceway. Oh, Vakela went nowhere in that Ford Fiesta off the line. Scott Speed screamed away in first in the Subaru Motorsports USA car. And seems to be a pretty clean start here. You could take the Joker the first time you pass by. It's on the left-hand side. Nobody opts for it this time round. And heading into turn 1, this is where all the carnage ensues. Bit of contact down the back of the pack for Mikey Lawrence. but he remains it and keeps it clean here as they head into the middle sector.
Oh, you can see, oh, contact lane for Kayla getting into the side there. And Michael Lawrence, only Vakayla getting caught out by that. But look at this now, the sweeping right-hander here. Important to slide it in there to then pull the handbrake, get yourself around the hairpin back onto the oval here. Tricky track this. The car always wants to push around the oval here, but end of lap 1, Scott Speed, Conor Martel showing their pace here.
And Mikey Lawrence to the Joker. So is Scott Speed too. He gets that out of the way. We talked about it, a 0.2 of a second Joker delta time. It's a shortcut, so that's how much time you gain from cutting to the inside, and Scott Speed's got that out of the way. Now the graphic on the left-hand side of the screen, if you're new to Rallycross, that will update at the end of the lap. And this section, if you remember, for those GRC fans who watched this circuit back in 2017 in motorsport, where Scott Speed dominated so well, it was very wet there on the inside, which is what caused a lot of issues for many drivers. But Paul Smith, Scott Speed has been very precise when he drives. He's one of the most skilled racers out there in the world. He never made a mistake on the day, and I don't expect him to make one here.
Yeah, and you just saw an indication of when you take that Joker lap, it really compromises your entry into that turn 1 there, onto the dirt. So Conor Martel nearly getting into the back of Scott Speed there, but you can, we've seen the speed that he has, no pun intended, in this car around these rallycross venues here on iRacing. But we saw Mikey Lawrence then, he's gained a position actually in this race ahead of Ron Capps now, so changes positions further down, but the top 2 are the ones who do qualify.
Yep, they advance to the feature. And Scott Speed makes it through pretty cleanly here. So Scott Speed will advance along with Conor Martel. Now remember, Paul, it's an inverted top 10 for the feature. So Scott Speed will have to start from last. And it's been a bit of a lottery for him, hasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly has. And those starts have been very intense in these All-Star Invitationals. Some better than others. As I'm sure I get flashbacks to earlier on in the season. But yeah, Michael Lawrence, look at that. Nice handbrake slide through there around the hairpin into the oval section. You can take different lines through here, and he's decided to take that wider line in and try and cut down towards the end of that for a late apex. But we're on the final lap already.
Yeah, 12 degrees of banking through the corners at Lucas Oil Raceway. How good are these camera shots? This is exactly what we had in the real world when we raced here in 2017. Shocking that it's just so similar. And here's where the track was so worn out. Brings back memories of that brilliant season until Red Bull GRC unfortunately went defunct over the years. Speed is going to win. He's going to head over to the feature along with Martel. And Paul, not that we despise our All-Stars, but it's good to see a clean heat, because this track is very, drivers love overtaking around here, but it can cause chaos.
It certainly can. We did have a little bit of contact at the start of the race with Lane Vakalia, but everybody else behaving themselves and doing a good job. But there's your results. And Scott Speed, Conor Martel, Michael Lawrence, Ron Capps and Lane Vakalia out there. And now we've got the grid for this second race here then. As you can see, Sage Curran, pole position. Tyler Meninga, middle of the front row along with Kevin Swindell. And then Bilko Williams and Michael Leach on the second row of the grid here.
Yeah, good to see Bilko Williams back, the 35-year-old. The Australian looking to join Chris Atkinson, his fellow Aussie, potentially on the podium later today. Remember, Karam won this event, won an event in the All-Star Invitational for round 1. Should have won at Sonoma last week, if not for that slowdown penalty which cost him. And then he was oh so close in the final couple of laps until Conor Martel and Bakarud collided. And that helped Conor Martel to victory. Race control let that one go. Felt it was a bit 50-50. Bit of hip and shoulder, never hurt anybody. But they'll be back here at Lucas Oil, ready to make amends for it. Lights illuminate for the second heat. And we go green from Lucas Oil Raceway again. Michael Leach with an awesome getaway. Look at the multitude of lines here. Everybody's trying high to low to the middle, but it's going to be Karam who screams away in the lead. Bit of a drag race here between Meninga and Swindell. Nobody opts for the Joker yet again.
Yeah, that is a bit unusual, but with it being such a short Joker and with it being such a tight entry into the dirt section, I'm kind of not surprised, actually. Yes, it gives you the inside line, but you are slower through that corner when you take the Joker.
Yeah, and it can cause a bit more of a bottlenecking. So the lead so far is with Karam, as we said, and it's Swindell. You can see in the white Subaru. Oh, some drivers taking a multitude of lines through here. I think I saw Michael Leach was just bullied off and shoved off into the infield. There he is on screen. So he's in fourth position. Believe it or not, he's not last. Bilko Williams is somewhere there behind. And a couple of drivers head to the Joker. So I see Meninga to the Joker, Michael Leach to the Joker too. Here's your lead battle. These two haven't taken a Joker lap.
It's great to see how close these two are. Kevin Swindell has actually come on quite a bit, I feel, through this All-Star Invitational service. And yeah, this is certainly showing a good effort out there. Sage Karam, though, we know how quick he is in this IRX event, and he's certainly showing a good showing here. Will he take to the Joker? Yes, he does.
Yeah, he does. So that's going to update at the end of the lap. It won't update this time by. And here is your IndyCar driver, Sage Karam, who has so much experience in open wheelers and, believe it or not, raced in America's Rallycross. So Rallycross is not something that's entirely new for the American, who recently got engaged here in 2020, and he flies over the jump. This is a cracking scrap for two transfer positions as Swindell and Meninga all scrap for it. Now Meninga's made a mockery of turn number 4. They head to the turn 5 hairpin. He's got some work cut out for him here.
So go through and across the line. So you see the graphics will light up on the left-hand side. There you go, Sage Karam. Oh, into the wall, Meninga. That's not going to help you as you head on to the dirt section, but it didn't seem to affect him that much.
Yeah, we're right on board with Swindell. I'm surprised he didn't damage the steering or the toe link, or the steering arm, I should say. Here's this brilliant turn number 4. Entirely dirt. This will wear out. This is how accurate this simulator is. It will wear out over the course of the event, which will mean it will almost take off the dust and turn into complete tarmac. And it looks like as these drivers begin the final lap, I think Meninga's made a mockery of as Swindell takes to the Joker. He's made a mockery of the final corner. Swindell finally takes to it. It seems as if these drivers are losing time through the Joker, Paul. It really is reliant on practice and driver skill.
Yeah. Oh, Meninga hits the tyre stack on the inside of that corner. That ruins any chance of getting a progression. But yeah, definitely these drivers certainly pushing on. But it's good to see that Karam and Swindell will get the progression, but the rest will go through to your Marwen Sports LCQs.
And still an opportunity to make the feature. It might actually be better for Meninga there that he finished 3rd, because he'll have the inverted top 10 if he makes it through from your Marwen Sports LCQ. So Karam will start from the back along with Scott Speed, exactly as it was in Sonoma. Swindell joins him right up ahead of him here. It's a 3x2 by 3x2 grid for the feature. Bilko Williams ended up ahead of Michael Leach, so more issues for the Lonebro Motorsports Ford Fiesta of Leach, as his teammate Steve Arpin will be in this next heat. He'll start from the 2nd row. On the front row, it's Backaroo, though. On the inside and from pole position, Tim Stevens, editor at Roadshow and CNET, will start from the middle. Chris Atkinson, who raced here in Red Bull GRC out in the real world, will start on the outside. And don't forget Mario Bonfanti Jr., who will start from the back. He's improving week to week, is Mario Bonfanti Jr. Chris Atkinson finished 8th here back in 2017. Didn't have the best of events, considering there were only, I think, a 10-car field there, Paul. Doesn't sound as good when I put it that way.
These drivers, they certainly, as I said with the results from the second heat there. Kevin Swindell, we've seen how he's progressed, and we're seeing quite a few of these drivers just seeing things just improve and get better as they're going along through this Pro Series. So, yeah, these drivers certainly are showing themselves well out there.
Yeah, so we've got a bit of a grid hold between this next heat, so we've got a bit of time to pass here. Andreas been entirely invested in the simulator, but I will say this, he is very quick, and I'm looking forward to seeing his performance here today. You reckon he can win a feature for once? It's tough to it's tough to knock off Scott Speed or Sage Karam.
Yeah, those two do have an advantage, and really they've got that experience in the sim over some of the others. But Andreas Bakkerud, I mentioned it previously, I have raced against him here on the iRacing service in the Rallycross series. So,
and you beat him.
And I beat him, yeah. He crashed out, but I beat him. So there you go.
Counts.
I wasn't faster than him, that's for sure. But it goes to show that he is somebody who does use the service, and he really has got a good handle of the car. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes in these next few races.
Really hope he wins a championship sometime soon out in the FIA World Rallycross Championship. We'll see if he can get it done. Andreas Bakkerud is one of the best out there. But how will he go here in our final heat of the day? So we're about to go here. Lights illuminate from Lucas Oil Raceway for the final heat. Away here, Bonfanti Jr. was slow off the line, but the rest of the four begin to scream into the banking. And into the final corner, Bonfanti Jr. collects Chris Atkinson. Chris Atkinson is turned around to the back of the field. He won't be pleased with that at all. Nobody heads to the Joker the first time round. So it's Bakkerud from Stevens, from Arpin. And now Bonfanti Jr. into the side of Steve Arpin. He forces his way past into third.
Yeah, it's a bit rough and ready as this one, that's for sure, as we're heading on up over the jump for the first time in this race. Bonfanti Jr., he's been watching, I think he's been getting the Rallycross tapes out and seeing what works and what doesn't work. And he's thinking, oh, they use the chrome horn on the front of the car. Okay, I'll start using that. He gets involved there with Arpin, and Arpin actually with the low line. Oh, and I think he's got a slowdown penalty.
Yeah, good stuff from Arpin too. It was a good pass. He made one similar here when he raced in 2017. To the Joker is Bakkerud. There he is. And he should appear back in first. Tim Stevens fared well here, like we said, in the All-Star Invitational earlier in the year. So no surprise he's doing well here with some more track experience and seat time. What a camera shot that is. I love it as it swings itself. And we see the exit of the jump here. Every North American circuit has this jump. Even Hell-Lunkenbahnen has a jump. It's very slight. But I do like these GRC jumps, Paul. They're quite exciting.
They're quite aggressive, aren't they? But as they head on to the banking once again, yeah, these drivers, they've got to compete with that. They're all in matching setups, though, so it's not like it's, this driver's got a better setup than this other one. It's all set on the just one same setup for all these drivers. So it's all about driver skill and how the drivers adapt to the simulator.
We should mention too, Bonfanti Jr., for those that don't know, he suffered a serious accident back in 2006 at just 17 years of age. It left him as a quadriplegic, so it's good that he's at least racing today, as I see Atkinson in the Team Yokohama car turned around once again as he tries to make his way past the Marwin Sports driver. I think that's day done for these two. And I think Arpin's too far behind to take a transfer spot from the top two.
Yeah, we can see Bakkerud, Stevens have already taken the Joker lap here. Oh, into the wall there! My goodness. Not really the best approach on the exit of the final turn. Oh, he's having issues out there, is your Marwin Sports driver of Bonfanti Jr.
So he's down in fourth. So transfer position. Bakkerud first, Stevens second. That's all done like we said. Bakkerud, who's just celebrated his 29th birthday a month ago, will be looking to take yet another heat win. And the Norwegian. Would have loved to see him actually race at Hellankenbanen. You know, the first time I saw that racetrack, Paul, on iRacing, I got to see it with Andreas on the racetrack. And I'm not kidding, within the first 20 seconds of loading the track on the iRacing service, he absolutely launched it into the Joker, and I was sold. It was by far my favorite circuit on the service.
Yeah, certainly he enjoys that, but coming around for the final time, you can see how the dirt is getting really worn down to the asphalt, but Bakkerud to take the lead and to win even.
Yep, so he'll start from the back with an inverted top 10, and just like Johan Harth and John Robertson, he ends up celebrating with God knows what that is, but it's a good one. Tim Stevens joins him in the feature. So that's it for our heats. Everybody else behind is going to head to your Marwin Sports LCQs, including Canadian Steve Arpin. Hopefully we get to chat to him after one of the races this season. Steve Arpin is a very good guy who's racing for Lonebro Motorsports. And Chris Atkinson still clawed his way back to Mario Bonfanti Jr. at the end of the day. So here is your grid for the Marwin Sports LCQ. Mikey Lawrence starting on the inside. Meninga from second. No break for Steve Arpin. He starts on the outside of the front row. Second row is only 2 drivers, and that's Ron Capps, your drag racer. As we always like to say, and to be no cliche, he should be very quick off the line, being a drag racer. Bilko Williams starts alongside him. Mario Bonfanti Jr. there on the third row, along with Lane Vakela, who makes his return to the All-Star Invitational. Michael Leach up there too. And with your top 4 advancing to the feature, I really like Chris Atkinson's chances. He is very handy in not only the simulator, but in the motorsport world too.
Yeah, he certainly is handy in these cars, but we'll have to see how he gets on from towards the back of the field. But here we go, for the start of your Marwin Sports LCQ.
Top 4 advance. More than half the field would be disappointed. The minority will be happy at the end of this one. We go green for the Marwin Sports LCQ. So a good getaway. I'm watching Atkinson from the back. It looks good. Ron Capps is almost turned around. Michael Leach somehow keeps that Lonebro Motorsports Fiesta pointing in a straight line. Everybody screams to turn number 1 for the first time. This is the difficult part. The most cars we've had yet in an LCQ.
Oh.
I'm not sure who's into the barrier. Bonfanti Jr. is, and a whole lot more.
Oh, there's even more contact happening further down. Lane Fakela involved in that one as well. To the front of your field, Bilko Williams is ahead of Mikey Lawrence, but Michael Leach is right there with Steve Harpin.
Steve Harpin's made a mockery, I think, of turn number 4. And 2 wide, 3 wide for the lead here. Potentially, I was going to say 4 wide, but that's not going to happen because somebody's into the wall, and that's Mikey Lawrence, and he collides with Ron Capps. Somebody needs to tell these guys to keep it clean because top 4 will advance, and we don't want at least 7 DNFs. We need 4 drivers here. Joker for Atkinson. Let me tell you this much. Atkinson's from last on the grid to second.
That's incredible. It shows what Chris can do out there. Michael Leach almost costing himself on his own a transfer position. He doesn't need to fight too hard with Steve Arpin here. They've got a bit of a gap behind, so he doesn't need to defend too hard from behind. But Chris Atkinson battling with Bilko, and he's going to go into the lead.
I feel like I need to buy a lottery ticket. No, I don't, because Atkinson's turned around. He collides with Bilko Williams, and that is a disastrous accident. I expected him to get launched. Probably a good time to take the Joker too, considering your car was almost forced to as you were spun into there. Now, this is bad news for Atkinson. The car's essentially damaged. It looks like it. These 3 in front of him include Arpin, Meninga, and Leach. Atkinson's fallen outside your transfer positions.
Well, let's see. Can Chris Atkinson make back the time here in the second half of the race? But somebody who's laughing all the way to the bank is Bilko Williams at the front of your field. Tyler Meninga now down the inside of Michael Leach. Leach trying to get the cut back there down the inside in the Ford. He's going to the Joker. Arpin, sorry. Steve Arpin. So, mistake from Meninga, but Arpin not able to take advantage.
Boy, it'd be good to see Steve Arpin, the Canadian, in a feature. As we said, he raced here back in 2017. He's picked up a few wins in GRC action. He finished on the podium here, essentially. Finished third in the feature in 2017. And he's quite handy around Lucas Oil. Who's this fighting here? It's Bilko Williams and Meninga. This is for the lead. So the two Team Yokohama drivers in the Advanced Subaru had a collision. One of them remains in first. And Williams is going to go to... I thought he was going to go for the Joker, but he's already taken it. So that graphic just updated there as he crossed the line. Arpin's also taken it. So everybody in the field's taken it.
Yeah, that was his own mistake there from Williams. He pulled the handbrake too hard, and he goes around, but he's not out of this one yet as they go over the jump.
There's no point squabbling here because they're both going to transfer. That battle for P4 is what's important. We think Michael Leach has got the position. Oh, but he's turned around. So Meninga's been turned around. Luckily, the car's pointing back in a straight line. I don't know what to make of this. I don't know what to make of this. At the end of the day, we're good.
Well, they've made it across the line. We've got some qualifiers for the feature race, that's for sure. But yeah, that was a bit hectic, was that one.
All right, so we've got two Lone Bro Motorsports cars that make it through to the feature. Atkinson ended up falling behind Ron Cap, so there's probably more drama for Atkinson. He had a bit of a Scott Speed day in terms of luck. You know, Scott Speed's had some bad luck in this series in a couple of rounds. And then Bilko Williams, that was a solid Team Yokohama Subaru because it felt like he collided with at least a few things and still ended up making the feature. Tyler Meninga for Heatwave ended up in second, and he'll transfer too. So goodbye to everybody else, including Lane Vakela, Mikey Lawrence, Ron Capps, unfortunately, in his return. That's his day done. Didn't see much of him today, but when we did, he seemed to be drifting, seemed to be turning around. He'll be used to pointing that car in straight lines. The Don Schumacher Racing driver will be preparing for Phoenix next week in the All-Star Invitational. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have got a feature race after this. It's going to be a cracker. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a thriller. It's all coming up on the other side of this.
Maryland Wrecking Crew, huge lead. We don't know how to do the runs. We don't know how to do the trees. What? This is Enduro Cross. This is BS.
So welcome back here for the All-Star Invitational. Paul, what did interesting comments. What did you make of that?
Well, a race occurred. I don't know what type of race we could call that, but it was a race, and we've got a result from it. So that's the main thing. So we've got drivers just warming up, ready for the feature race. But hopefully the feature will be a bit better than that, because that wasn't exactly what we wanted to see there, but people were desperate to get into that feature.
Yeah, certainly were. We've got a few good drivers here starting from the back of the pack. So I'm looking at the grid. Scott Speed starting from 10th. Sage Karam alongside him. Andreas Backerud as well right in front of them. What's the key here at Lucas Oil? Is it pure luck? Is it being patient?
A bit of both, really, isn't it? It's mainly luck going into turn one, especially if you're starting near the back of the grid. But patience will be key here. You can make overtakes around this track. That's what you can do. So yeah, it is possible. those drivers will try and get through as quickly as possible, though. They've got 10 laps to do it.
Can I also point out, mate, you seem to be at the Lucas Oil circuit right there in your background. Can we have another look at that, actually? Paul Smith is officially visiting, as I can see, at Lucas Oil Raceway, and it's a track, Paul, that you can subscribe to on the iRacing service using the recent Black Friday sales.
Yeah, absolutely. The Black Friday sale is all the way through to the 3rd December, and it's a really exciting time for people. If you're a new member, if you've never had a membership before for iRacing, you're thinking, hey, I want to do this, 50% off memberships. So make sure you check that out. If you are an existing member or if you had your membership lapse, you get 25% off of renewals. So do check that out. For more details, it's iRacing.com/Black Friday sale. All the information and details are there. So do check it out. It's a great offer. And who knows, we might see you out there on track. You'll certainly see me out on track.
I'm looking forward to it. You're pretty handy, aren't you, Paul, when it comes to rallycross? You did beat Andreas Backerud.
Well, I did beat him, but again, I was multiple seconds slower than him per lap.
He's very, very quick. I think he'd be quite handy if he puts in some more seat time. He'd be more handy in the, or very handy in the Sim Racers Championship. Scott Speed actually qualified for that and received a wildcard entry back in 2018. Qualified here 5th on the grid. His engineer, Graham Quinn, was 8th on the grid. You talk back to the second ever event of the Rallycross World Championship on iRacing. Those sim racers will be back after we finish, and they will be ready to go with 3 rounds remaining for their World Championship charge. $10,000 for the winner there. It's all going to come on the other side of our feature race here today for the All-Star Invitational. And we're going to look at your grid to see who is where, but who's going to finish where. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. But here's the grid. It's an all Lonebro Motorsports front row. I say that, it's actually 3 on the front row. Tyler Meninga is on the outside. They'll be followed by Bilko Williams and Tim Stevens on the second row. Good to see 2 Lonebro Motorsports cars in the feature, which is good. Michael Leach is improving as the season goes by. Kevin Swindell, he's been on the podium before in the All-Star Invitational. He starts on the 3rd row. Now, alongside him are Connor Martell, race winner from last week, Andreas Backerud, who he collided with on the final lap with just 2 corners to go. Then you've got Sage Karam, race winner this season as well, and Scott Speed, who is leading the championship. Now, with 5 rounds that only count to a driver's score, this will be the first that drivers can take as a drop round. So ready to go here for the final feature race of the day. It's 10 laps of action, 1 joker available for the drivers. We're going to go green as soon as those lights disappear. Brilliant jump from your Fiestas. Meninga on the outside just about loses it, keeps it together, but it costs him some vital time. Backerud with a poor getaway down the back of the pack as well. Scott Speed dives to the inside. They're 4 wide down the back of the pack, but it's Arpin who leads into turn 1.
As we've got a couple taking to the joker, Sage Karam's got involved. Oh, there's all sorts of shenanigans happening down onto the dirt. There's Kevin Swindell is around. Bilko Williams has dropped back as well.
Look at this. Scott Speed's made his way into 4th. He's either super lucky or super unlucky at the starts. He'll take this one today so far, but there's still 9 of these laps remaining. Up ahead of him is Meninga, who's having some connection issues. That will throw him off. Backerud forces his way up the inside. They're almost 3 wide on the exit. And Andreas here, the Norwegian, is looking to make a move on your 4-time Rallycross champ.
Arpin and also Meninga taking to the joker this time by... Oh, Arpin's hit the wall! And look at that, Meninga to the inside, but Speed gets him around the outside.
Oh, Scott Speed again. I told you, he either gets super lucky or it's unlucky. And today he's into 2nd after a couple of laps. Can't say the same for Sage Karam, who's in 8th. Backerud's turned around at the exit of the jump. Oh, and he's punted. Well, Paul, I tell you what, that is a Mario Kart Ultra shortcut is what he's taken right there.
he got some assistance there, that's for sure, but he will get a penalty for that. The iRacing service will give a penalty for that, that's for sure. But yeah, this certainly That was interesting. He lost it over the jump, though. That's where he lost it. Oh, his speed gets punted now. He's in the grass. He's going to be an expensive lawnmower right here. Watch your rejoin, Scott. Oh, that's not the best rejoin there. And now Sage Karam's moving his way forward in all of this.
And they all head through over the jump. I'm not sure how this race is going to end, but Andreas leads, Michael Leach second, Tyler Meninga third. Scott Speed, though, we know is quick when it comes to pace. Everybody's trying to shove their way past the American Scott
Speed stopped.
And Speed stopped. And I think his day's done. He's not going to make up the time from there on in. And so I think that's day done for Scott Speed. So I talked about his luck. I probably shouldn't. Bit of a commentary curse, but that's benefited Sage Karam, who's now into fourth.
Interesting that Andres Baccarat is still showing in the lead of this race, by the way.
Does he have a penalty?
I would be amazed if he didn't end up with a penalty from getting assistance over the wall.
Talk about that, Paul. So that would be added at the end of his race time as we watch
potentially, yes.
battle?
Yeah, absolutely. It could be. So it could be like a 15-second penalty gets added. So Michael Leach and Sage Karam now down the inside of Tyler Meninga. Meninga's going for the cutback here. They've all taken the joker here. Down the inside. Sage. Oh, and well, Meninga's trying to take advantage of that. Down the inside, and he's cost himself some time and positions here. Oh, that's a bit not the greatest there.
That's where Stelian Chepolevsky was shoved off the racetrack last year like he was just discarded rubbish. He's nowhere near discarded rubbish. One of the best rallycross racers we have on the service. Not racing this year, but hopefully he's back, the Bulgarian, in future years. So that's Michael Leach right behind Sage Karam. It would be a dream podium for Michael Leach. We think at the moment it's going to be Sage Karam for the victory. This is the issue sometimes with iRacing. We watch some more squabbles go on, Paul, but we're not going to know if he's got a penalty to the end of the race until he crosses the line.
Well, we'll have to wait and see how that all works out for us. But that's Swindell in that battle then with Meninga and Bilko Williams into the back of Swindell. I was about to say how well Swindell was going out there, and then that happens. Yeah, I didn't even curse him without even saying anything.
We're having our own little battle here, Paul, in terms of who's cursing who. Commentary cursing, that is. We're keeping it G-rated in the booth. There is Michael Leach being swept up by Conor Martel, who's very handy, not only in the sim world, but in the rallycross world too. He was the 2018 ARX2 champion, which was the feeder series into ARX. Oh, and he's just almost shoved out of the way. Luckily, four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, helps him keep that car pointing straight.
Conor Martel won't take too kindly to that either, so he's taken back in front of him. You can see how that dirt is wearing away. And oh, bang! Getting to the side of Michael Leach.
That was Tim Stevens. He just went bash right into the side of the Fiesta.
Well, Sage Karam's nearly caught your leader right here.
Okay, so we won't have to rely on the penalty to call a winner, hopefully. Baccarat, we know last week, remember, this is a carbon copy where he had to defend the lead. He's going nowhere. Karam has swept him up like there's no tomorrow. He's gobbled him up. And he takes the lead officially. And now don't believe the totem pole. That's Meninga, who's retired the car. So that will update. There we go. So they passed him in the garages. Sage Karam officially the leader and is looking towards his second race victory of the season.
Well, he's still got a while to go yet here. 2 more laps. And we've seen how easy it is to make mistakes in this event. But Baccarat, back end flying out there on the dirt. Up over the jump they go. And, well, Karam now just sliding it through. Look at that car control there. Little pull of the handbrake to get him around the hairpin. Back on the power. It's great to see.
So a couple laps to go. Sage Karam, who races for Coanda Simsport, he represents what is arguably one of the best teams. Well, I don't think that's an argument. I think it's definitely one of the best sim racing teams in the world. Has a mammoth lockup with the rears as he heads through to the 90-degree section for the first time on towards the jump. This is usually the pit exit at Lucas Oil Raceway. The joker here in the real world, they used to have to, the drivers actually have to cut towards a white box. It was much slower, bit speedy here in the sim racing world, which is why the delta is only 0.2 of a second. But that's it. Second win of the season for Sage Karam. He's going to cross the line. Oh, well, I think he crosses the line. That's one way to win a race. Sage Karam whacks it into the wall. He's not going to have a car for next week, we don't think. He's going to win, though, from Lucas Oil Raceway. And I got, well, I'll tell you what, the hairs on my arms stood up as he crossed the line.
I will say that I think these drivers are glad that they don't have to pay for the damage of these cars in the simulation here, because there's quite a lot of damaged automobiles out there.
Well, there you go. So here are the final race results. It's another Dreyer and Reinbold 1-2. 2 weeks in a row for that. Connor Martell ended up coming home in second. Not sure what was going on in Swindell's mind. But he'll end up in 8th, does Kevin Swindell. Good stuff from Sage Karam, who has been a champion in Indy Lights. He's won championships in USF 2000 in the past. Raced in Rallycross 2. Raced in the ARX2 in 2019. Missed a lot of races, but ended up winning some too. And ended up 6th in the championship there. Michael Leach on the podium. That's a dream. What a goal by him. He's kicked a big field goal there. And Loneborough Motorsports will be happy with that. It's their first podium of the season, not only in All-Stars, but in the Sim Racer Series 2. They're going to run 2 cars for the second time later today, as Luke Krause was officially signed to their second sim racing seat alongside Garrett Lowe. And Tim Stevens, how about that? Yet again from Lucas Oil, he fares very well and ends up in 4th. Bilko Williams rounds out the top 5. And Steve Arpin at the end of the day, 6th in the feature. That's his best result of the season. Backerud. Now, is that a penalty confirmed, Paul, for Andreas Backerud? Yeah, it is, yeah. It was applied afterwards by the simulation. So because he got assisted over the wall, and it gave a massive cut of the course, the simulation has automatically added a penalty to the end of his race results there. Yep. So then you've got Swindell, Meninga, Scott Speed with a DNF. He could have won this race. So I'm not really sure what happened to Scott Speed. So we'll get some word on that later on. But that was your feature race for the All-Star Invitational. And we're going to speak to your top 3 soon. And I always like speaking to Sage Karam. We've been speaking to him quite a bit during the season. Paul, he's somebody as well that you've met in the real world. You met him at the Sim Racing Expo, and he's quite a good chap himself.
Well, not just the Sim Racing Expo, I also met him at the Porsche Sim Racing Summit as well. And
that was it.
He's an amazing guy. Had dinner with him as well, along with the rest of the Racebot crew. But yeah, we had a good chat. We talked about American football, and yeah, he's a nice guy. But yeah, it's always great to speak to Sage after one of these events.
Yeah, it certainly is. So we talked about Sage, who is so accomplished in his racing career. He's competed in 7 Indy 500s, most recent as this year as well. And we're going to speak to him on the other side of this. So we've got your post-race interviews coming up. We'll speak to your top 3. We'll speak to some others too. And we're going to preview our sim racers because they're coming up in their World Championship event. We talked about it, $25,000 worth of series cash and prizes. Who's going to take all of that home? 3 rounds to go. Who knows?
Take your driving to the next level at Dirtfish. Gain confidence behind the wheel of an all-wheel drive Subaru STI or rear-wheel drive BRZ. Get sideways with skills on gravel, mud, and tarmac. Dirtfish offers programs for every driver. Visit dirtfish.com for details.
Today's new cars have upwards of 100 computers in them, and a dashboard rivaled only by a commercial airliner. But wouldn't it be nice to really know what all that does for you?
At Roadshow, we demystify the world of modern transportation with reviews of your next car,
the latest news on what's changing the industry, and videos covering every screen and every new feature you'll encounter in the driver's seat. Get informed, get smart, and get going with Roadshow.
Well, how about that? 2 weeks in a row, we've got a Dreyer and Reinbold Racing 1-2 yet again, as Connor Martell brought home the other Subaru in the second position. But we're going to speak to your race winner, and his name was Sage Karam. He's won a USF 2000 championship. He's got an Indy Lights championship. He's competed in so many Indy 500s. And people forget too, Sage, you've also competed in ARX too back in 2019.
Yeah, I did. That was a lot of fun. I did like 5 or 6 races, and I got a win in that, and I think the rest of the results were second, so I was happy to at least just get one win.
Yeah, I think you missed almost half the season, I think, at that stage. So obviously you got commitments with IndyCar and some other events as well. Ever going to make it back to the Rallycross world? Potentially even the European side of it, if you're interested.
I hope so. It was a lot of fun. I never did any racing like that in my life, let alone driving on dirt. So like figuring that out was definitely hard, and once I got that figured out, I remember the one weekend at Mid-Ohio, it just started raining, so I finally figured out dirt. Now I had to figure out mud, and that was a whole different animal, but it was a lot of fun, man. It was like 110% every single lap. Just the weekends felt nonstop, like it was just you're always driving and always racing. It felt like it was really cool.
So let's talk about your race today. This is your second race win of the season, along with Daytona, with probably the world's best start anyone's ever seen in the world of sim racing. But with drop rounds now, because only the top 5 events for the season count, we think you can make a charge for Scott Speed for the championship.
Yeah, I hope so. I missed one of the races. I had a commitment I had to do, and missed one. So I don't know how many drops we get or whatever, but I'll keep showing up, keep doing my best, and Daytona, we had that incredible start, and then today I just had the worst start, and apologies to Kevin. I went down low, and it got all bunched up, and I wasn't used to braking down there, and kind of got into the side of him. But rally racing, it can work either way. So sometimes you get through it all, sometimes you don't, and yeah, it was my fault.
Yeah, we saw what happened across the finish line. I wasn't sure what to make of it there. We were surprised you actually won the race. I got a bit concerned. I was trying to call you as the winner, and I'm like, wait, is he actually going to win the race? I wasn't sure.
Yeah, he was definitely mad, and I think he was waiting to, show me he was a little bit upset.
And it's good you don't have to pay the damage bill for these things, because that was, I reckon across the line, an extra 50 grand.
Yeah, no, I think Dennis Reinbold is happy that he's watching these things virtually instead of actually being at the track.
And talk about that finally. Last thing with Dreyer and Reinbold, what's the future looking like with them for you?
We'll see. Obviously, this year's just been weird. I was gonna do some more rally races this year, and then when everything just kind of happened and no series this year, it kind of stunk. So I really wanted to get out there again. So I think time will tell and see, what comes up, what series, we'll be able to go in and races maybe. And, they definitely have shown interest in wanting me to continue to do that and everything. But I'd really love to try a supercar at some point. They just seem like a blast. And, but for now, I'll do it and drive whatever I can and have fun with it.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're very handy with them on the sim. So I think if that's the case, give Sage a real run in the real thing, and let's see how he goes. We'll leave you to it again, Sage, but congratulations once again. A second win. Probably see you for more of these interviews, I reckon, for the rest of the season. 2 rounds to go.
I hope so.
That was Sage Karam, who's appeared in 7 Indy 500s. We've also got Connor Martell, his teammate, who is next up in our post-race interviews. Now, Connor, you came home second today. First of all, Connor, we got you. I'm not sure if you're actually there. We just want to confirm.
Yes, I am here.
Okay, we got you. That's good. I've had some miseries in the past where I've asked long, convoluted questions and the guy's not there. Your race, where do we start with that one? Because there was so much action going on. I'm not sure how you made it to second.
I honestly couldn't tell you either. The start was not as great as I wanted to. I had a really good start and got in between the lane ahead of me, and I kind of backed out of it because I knew it wasn't going to end well. Me and Sage got into each other a little bit, and then I went to go Joker, and I saw that Scott was right on the inside, so I basically backed out of that as well. And I got in. Bilko and Backard got into each other, and then Backard spun me in the dirt section. It was all over the place. So I honestly have no idea how I got on the podium either. It was kind of just like last lap. I was like, wait, I only see like 2 cars in front of me. So yeah, it was, couldn't ask for much better.
Yeah, can I also ask as well, your nickname is the Hammer. Can we ask how you got that nickname?
I think, my dad kind of started it, and then Bucky Lassick really took control of it when he was doing the ARX stuff. And so it was kind of just like he would always call me by the Hammer. So I think it kind of just stuck from then on. And I think it's a pretty good nickname because usually when I pass, it's it's a pretty aggressive pass.
Now, last week, did you speak about, not only are you obviously a motor racing driver out in motorsport too, but aren't you also working during the week? Can you talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, so I work at the Subaru Motorsports USA shop in Milton, Vermont, and I'm a fabricator. So, I help weld the cars together and, do the machining and the lathing. And, I used to be a mechanic there as well, and I've kind of hopped around from each department. So it's really cool because I have so much knowledge about racing, but I also know what goes into building the cars. And I know, when I do rallies, if I needed to, I can basically fix anything on the car. So overall, it's a really cool, awesome opportunity I have to, progress my skills and learn more about racing in general.
Does that help you when it comes to, let's say, car setup or anything or that kind of stuff when you're on a race weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always having conversations with our engineers here at Subaru, so I get to pick their brain, as much as I want, and they definitely have helped me out quite a bit with my racing career, and everyone's really supportive of me. So it's really awesome to be able to be at Vermont Sports Car and be a part of the Subaru Motorsports USA team.
All right, we'll leave you to it, Connor, but congrats again, mate. Not a race win this week, but at least it's another Dreyer and Reinbold 1-2 position switch this week round. But he's making a good championship charge, as Connor Martel himself. And we're going to leave the 23-year-old alone. We're going to head to our young guns in a second because our sim races are coming up on the other side of this. We've got $25,000 of series cash and prizes to pay out. The championship can't be wrapped up today, but it can certainly make a charge for one of these drivers. Will it be John Robertson, Johan Harth, Mitchell de Jong? Will somebody else spring a surprise and potentially win the title? Will it be one of your set drivers? We'll find out next. Don't leave us. The big guns are coming up.
Driving to the next level at Dirtfish. Gain confidence behind the wheel of an all-wheel drive Subaru STI or rear-wheel drive BRZ. Get sideways with skills on gravel, mud, and tarmac. Dirtfish offers programs for every driver. Visit dirtfish.com for details.
Huge lead. We don't know how to do the rocks. We don't know how to do the trees. This is enduro cross. This is BS.
Today's new cars have upwards of 100 computers in them, and a dashboard rivaled only by a commercial airliner. But wouldn't it be nice to really know what all that does for you? At Roadshow, we demystify the world of modern transportation with reviews of your next car, the latest news on what's changing the industry, and videos covering every screen and every new feature you'll encounter in the driver's seat. Get informed, get smart, and get going with Roadshow.
We're in the closing third of the season, and to a venue that sparked all the surprises and drama over the years, the ending to 2020 will be far from dull. And here we are at Lucas Oil Raceway. It's located just a 10 minutes drive from the Brickyard. That's 16th Street, Indianapolis, and it hosts the 7th round of the 2020 iRacing Rallycross World Championship presented by Yokohama. All coverage today is on the iRacing Esports Network. From Jonathan Simon, I say welcome. Paul Smith is alongside me. You get to see our faces for the first time in this broadcast. We're going to have some of the drivers as well on board throughout the broadcast. Paul, good to see you.
Yeah, it's great to be here, and this is the main event. This is where the World Championship drivers are now going to be duking it out, and who knows who will come out on top. It's been an unpredictable season so far.
Yeah, it certainly had. We had no repeat race winner going into the round heading into Sonoma last week. Johan Hart became our first repeat winner, but the championship charge still continues. It could be either of them two, Paul, the Team Yokohama drivers, or Mitchell de Jong potentially in the Subaru.
Yeah, de Jong is a former champion, of course, in 2018. He's somebody who knows what it takes to be a champion in this series. So, yeah, Mitchell, he's got a great opportunity out there.
And here is the schedule that we've had all season. So we head to Lucas Oil today for our closing third of the campaign. 9 rounds of action. That first round was just a preseason exhibition race. There is the Frenchman who ended up taking the first repeat victory. We also had a first repeat pole sitter too. Who knows what it's going to be at the end of Lucas Oil later today. Track info up on screen. It's a 1.27 kilometer circuit here from Lucas Oil, 0.79 miles, an anti-clockwise layout, 6 corners, and it's a circuit that hosted Red Bull GRC action in 2017 for its one and only event on the series schedule. It's a 52% asphalt, 48% dirt split. The Joker Delta time here is a 0.2 of a second shortcut, Paul. That's the interesting point coming into today, albeit actually, ironically, a not so interesting point.
Yeah, we were seeing in the All-Star event how taking the shortcut was actually, drivers were taking it a bit tentative into there and were actually losing a bit of time. But it gives you that tighter entry onto the dirt, so yeah, it is a bit of a tricky one, is the entry onto that dirt from the Joker lap there.
Yeah, it certainly is. So here are the prizes that the drivers are fighting for. John Robertson, the 18-year-old, could be $10,000 richer. Or will it be his teammate? Or will it be Mitchell de Jong, who's looking to reclaim this championship that he won in the inaugural season in 2018? And I also mentioned that the Yokohama Pole Award won't need to be split 9 ways. They're actually making a trophy that will be sent to your best driver. Tommy Horman just took 2 poles in a row, could be taking 3 in a row today from Lucas Oil. Depends on his time in qualifying coming up. But Tommy Horman is someone who is our first repeat pole sitter. And here's the points format. We talked about hat tricks where you take qualifying pole, heat win, and feature win. That's a hat trick. And it hasn't happened last round at Sonoma. We had a streak going since round 2. It doesn't continue heading into the next round. But these points are critical. Now, despite Tommy Holman, Paul, he did miss the heat, which cost him for the rest of the event. He had technical issues, which caused him troubles, but he still claimed a good 6 points from qualifying.
He certainly did, and that counted towards him in the championship standings, which I'm sure we'll see momentarily. There you go, John Robertson at the top of the standings, ahead of Johan Hart with Mitchell de Jong. Then a bit of a gap back to Tommy there. It was crucial that he did get those points in qualifying, so that was helpful for him. With Joni Olakainen as well, did a good job last time out in 5th place. You can see in the red numbers, the top 10, they automatically qualify for next year's championship. And, well, also Taskinen is just 3 points outside of that top 10. Still plenty to fight for all the way down your field.
Yeah, it certainly is. So this is very important going into these closing few rounds. And we will have a look here at your format for today. So 4 heats, 5 laps of action, the top 2 advance to the feature. That gives us 8 drivers in that feature race final. The rest of them head to your Marwin Sports last chance qualifiers, your LCQs, your consolation races, whatever floats your boat. And we're going to take the winner from 2 of those events that make up the 10-car grid. And then we look at your keys to victory for today. Now, this is the interesting part, Paul. This was a racetrack that we used in the real world in Red Bull GRC. It's been replicated here on the iRacing service. And Mitchell de Jong, who's vying for another championship, he had an accident here at Turn 1, which cost him an appearance in the feature in the real world. He ended up joining the commentary booth instead, which we hope he doesn't do today because we want him to be racing. But that bottlenecking at Turn 1 is quite an issue.
It is, and it really is. It really does narrow down from the oval there. So you've got to be careful at the opening of the race. Pole position isn't that critical, but there are plenty of overtaking opportunities around this track. So expect plenty of action out there here today.
And for the first time this season, we've got not only Paul and I and our handsome faces on the broadcast. Here we are. I'm looking at all the drivers. So we've got Johan Haas joining us, John Robertson and Mitchell de Jong. They're top 3 in the standings. And hey, why not have Williams Esports driver Josh Fox? He's representing the handsome Williams Esports squad this year. That's your mega wall. And we're going to continue on. And we'll show you some of those drivers. Should have more joining us for the final couple of rounds. But we're currently in qualifying. I love qualifying because it's intense. It's important for the likes of Mitchell de Jong, who has never taken pole position at Lucas Oil Raceway.
He's never taken at Lucas Oil Raceway, but as of right now, he's at the top of the standings. But it is extremely tight in qualifying. There's just 2 1,000ths of a second between himself and Johan Hart out there. So definitely Mitchell and Johan are so evenly matched in this particular event.
Yeah, so Mitchell de Jong, this will be a second pole position of the season, and Team Yokohama will now have to make a second trophy if it ends this way. He did take pole for the first round in Norway. Didn't end up winning that event. And we welcome back Bo Albert, the Australian. It's now 6 o'clock in the morning. He's probably been up for a few hours. He returns after a race suspension, along with his teammate Vicente Salas and the other Oberto Volkswagen for Andretti Autosport. He had a race ban too, along with Tommy Mäkinen for Chadbury 22 Motorsports. A lot of penalties coming up. Jonathan Payet will be missing today. He's got a race suspension for exceeding penalty points that you achieve on your license in Rallycross. But the issue is, Paul, for Vicente Salas and Bo Albert, they will have time penalties coming up for their heats later today.
Yeah, so they're not really going to be concerned about qualifying for the heats. It's all about trying to get themselves a good, well, as good as they possibly can, qualification for the Marwin Sports LCQs. That's going to be the key to their races today. But yeah, once again, qualifying just throws up a little bit of a curveball here and there.
Yep, so John Robertson, you can see highlighted. He's our championship leader. That's where you can identify him throughout the event. Be on his dashboard too. He's led the championship since round 2 of the campaign. But his teammate, Johan Hart, Shem Marchand, the mean dog, is coming back to try and beat him and reclaim that championship lead. Sim racing is a team sport, so they'll be happy for each other. Let's see how we go, though. This is your grid for the first heat of the day. So Mitchell de Jong claims the Yokohama Pole Award. Tommy Horman will start alongside him, who, despite having pole last week, will still join the first heat. Hopefully no technical issues for him. Otto Taskinen around the outside. Hopefully he makes a move and potentially sparks up an interesting scrap between the top 3. Otto Taskinen, who won here last year at Lucas Oil for round number 4 when he represented positive sim racing. You've got Adria Perez starting behind them alongside Spanish university student and Burton Kligerman esports driver Marcos Matamoros. An all-Spanish second row, followed by Matt Busa, who replaced your 2019 champion, and Henrik Krogstad, your 2020 RX2 champion, will start from 7th. And he took that championship in the FIA World Rallycross Series. So, Paul, the first time that De Jong takes pole position here from Lucas Oil. Now, in terms of race wins, he last won here in 2018 for round 2. You think he can do it again?
Well, you never say never. Lightning does strike twice, that's for sure. But yeah, it's going to be tricky. It's just how close the times were in qualifying are making me think that Mitchell and Johan and the rest, they really are going to be tightly packed. And Josh Fox has done a fantastic job as well. He's going to be starting at the front of the third heat. So yeah, there's plenty of competition out there. We're getting all set for the first of your heat races. They're going to come thick and fast now, everybody.
You bring up Josh Fox. He took his only career win here from Lucas Oil back in 2018. Hopefully he does the same. We've never had a hat trick here at Lucas Oil. Mitchell de Jong will be looking to end that poor run for the pole sitter. Joni Heikkinen, I should say. 2 poles for him. Never won a race here, unfortunately. Will de Jong change that? First heat of the day, we go green from Lucas Oil Raceway. Great getaway by Horman, but the outside, he has to take the long way round. 12 degrees of banking, and the Set Esports driver has a case here as the 2 Spaniards behind collide. De Jong's going to take to the Joker on the first lap, which you can do. A 0.2 of a second shortcut. That's going to help him claim the lead advantage over Horman.
Oh, they're battling behind, banging doors. Perez and Taskinen are getting involved, and so too is Henrik Krogstad, who started at the back of the grid, and so he's making his way forward in this race. Good to see that from Henrik. We've not really seen the best of him so far this season. Hopefully he can get on a little bit better this time out.
Never made a feature this season or in his career in his rookie campaign for Henrik Krogstad. Swipe with the wall for Otto Taskinen in the Williams Esports Subaru. And he heads to the Joker. So it's not like what we had here in Red Bull GRC in 2017. There's no white little square that you have to take to the inside to. You can throw the Subaru into the corner and take as fast as a line as you can through there. Now that graphic will update at the end of the lap. Good to see Adria Perez, though, in third. He's been very impressive.
Yeah, certainly has. And that little Volkswagen with its short wheelbase, it'll be good around this infield, the second half of the lap then. But it's where you have to stretch the legs out, that longer wheelbase than Subaru, maybe just helping them a little bit around the oval section. But that Volkswagen does change direction really well.
There is the MSI Motorsport Institute Volkswagen Beetle, which will hopefully get quick as the track wears out. That's what the drivers say, although a lot of them argue it doesn't make that much of a difference. This is great to see de Jong. This is classic de Jong, Paul, which is the best comparison I can make for, I mean, you and I are Formula One fans, for example. It's the old Sebastian Vettel days back in the Red Bull sort of era. He had the dominance. And here he is up on screen. You can see the focus from the American who raced here in the real world. He'll be accustomed to this circuit.
Yeah, he knows the lines that he needs to take. He knows what he needs to do out there. And it was important that he made sure he got to the front by that turn 1. And that's exactly what he did out there. And as soon as you do that, he's then able to help himself out there. I will note that Henrik Krogstad has dropped to the back of the field. He's had an issue in this race, so he's all the way back. So he's out of contention for this. But yeah, look at this. Perez, 4th place after taking his Joker. Tommy Horman yet to take his Joker on. He's going to take that on the last lap here.
Yeah, you got to, obviously. Have to take the Joker whether you want to or not. Might as well take the 0.2 of a second shortcut that you gain. It's not going to help him pass de Jong, but de Jong will have pole position for your feature race in Tommy Horman will still have decent grid position. He's still mathematically in contention for the championship, is Tommy Horman. And he'll need a lot of luck on his side in the final 2 rounds, but you never know. He's only 15 points behind De Jong coming into this round, 41 points behind John Robertson, your championship leader. So the Finn, despite some bad luck this season, despite some false starts over in Norway, could still claim the championship. Mitchell de Jong wins. Good stuff from the American. We saw him probably got a lot of energy from that Red Bull fridge he's got in the background. And he'll head through, as we said. Now, it's still good grid position, Paul, for the rest of the drivers behind. Taskinen in 3rd, Perez in 4th.
Yeah, certainly, it's certainly a good positions then for Taskinen and for Perez. Matamoros and Booster and Krogstad, they've got their work cut out there. We're all set for the second of these heat races. And look at that, Johan Hart on pole position there.
Can he win a second successive race? He won last week at Sonoma, and he's got to claim this championship ahead of his teammate John Robertson. 13 points the deficit to make up. Bobby Zelensky down the back of the pack, still top 10 in the standings. It feels like he's had such bad luck this season. You wouldn't expect him in the top 20, but he's actually been a lot better than you think. And down on the other page is Alexei Heikkinen. His brother scored 2 pole positions here in iRacing Rallycross World Championship action. Will he spring a surprise from last on the grid? Good to see Lou Krause in that number 3 Lonebro Motorsports Ford Fiesta. It's the second race appearance for the Canadian. As Paul, I'm not going to jinx it, but you just said to us behind the scenes that you said that was a very clean first race. Here we go for the second heat. Let's see how this one goes. Drivers go green for the second heat. And Johan Hart, goodness me, I don't know. Johan Hart is on a completely different racetrack. Everybody else dicing behind. We've got pretty much 2 sets of 3 wide. Now they split because Vicente Salas and the Oberto Volkswagen makes his way through. So Hart and Zelensky to the Joker. Lamin Sivu, your round 1 winner to the outside. Oh, and he's shoved out of the way by Zelensky, but I don't think that was Zelensky's fault, to be honest with you.
I'd need to see that again, really, to have an idea. That was...
There was air between the two, so it might need to be left for another. We'll see how the race stewards decide that. So Johan Hart first, Zelensky now second, but Salas, who's got a penalty, don't forget, 10 seconds, Paul, is in 3rd.
Yeah, so he's just trying to get as quick as possible to try and mitigate that penalty as much as possible. So Vicente Salas trying to put on a good showing here, and it's good practice really because we do expect him to be in that Moen Sports LCQ, so you might as well give it full guns here, push as hard as you can, and hopefully get yourself a good bit of practice for when you get into LCQ.
Yeah, good call. So this is Salas is as you said, it's still good track time. Good attitude from the young American. He's a very good guy, is Vicente Salas. Races in some karting. He's won some championships there too. Takes his talent to the sim racing world. And no one's opting for the Joker. I think he's trying to hunt down Bobby Zelensky here in second and try to claim a transfer spot from him. Oh, Zelensky makes a mockery of turn 2, and into 3 he goes, and he's falling into the clutches of the Volkswagen Beetle.
Yeah, he doesn't need to... Now, the thing is, he doesn't want to get involved in a battle with Salas here. That's the thing. If he does end up dropping back, he just cannot afford to start squabbling and bring other drivers into this, because Tommy Mäkinen is loitering, waiting patiently for the opportunity.
Now, the drivers get so close to the barrier there. Look at the gaps here. So 2/10 is the gap you're looking for with the Joker Delta. And even then, you can still go alongside each other. And this is this brilliant camera shot we had in the real world when GRC visited here back in 2017. Flying over the jump. And the suspension copes. Now, Paul, if you actually... Johan Hart mentioned this. Remember back to Iowa this year. Johan Hart, our race leader in this heat, suffered damage when he landed at the jump at Iowa and barely kept that Subaru ahead of Mitchell de Jong.
Yeah, you've got to be careful with those landings. Make sure you keep it as flat as possible as Salas and also Mäkinen head on to the Joker. So Zelensky doesn't need to worry about them for the time being. But yeah, you've really got to land it square and flat on the ground on the landing. If you get one corner, it takes the full force of that landing and you will cause significant damage to that suspension.
Yeah, so Mäkinen will end up third. Mäkinen, along with Salas, they both return from race suspensions. Mäkinen's had a good season, along with his teammate Lamin Sivu. Chad Reed, 22, Motorsports have had a good campaign. Chad Reed will be proud of that. But for Johan Harth, he'll start alongside De Jong on the front row for the feature. Zelensky through to the feature. How glad will he be to avoid the Marwin Sports LCQ? Everybody else will head to that Marwin Sports LCQ at the end of the day. So race results up on screen. Luke Kraus ended up ahead of Salas with that 10-second penalty. So Salas will have poor grid position for your Marwin Sports LCQ. And Lamin Sivu right behind his teammate. Let's look at the grid for Heat 3. Josh Fox. We've got him on camera. We'll start alongside Joni Ollikainen, who currently leads the rookie standings and could be our Dirtfish Rookie of the Year. Garrett Mains alongside them on the front row. Then it's Garrett Lowe, the two Garretts. Garrett Lowe returns from the Legends Worlds Finals at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. He missed last round, replaced by Alex Bergeron. And he returns and will start from the second row alongside the third Spaniard on the grid, Daniel Matrani, oldest driver as well. Very experienced. Almost had a podium here last year. Then it's Sindre Silva and Rasmus Toivonen as we're about to go green. Screaming getaway by Rasmus Toivonen. He's trying to split the Spaniard and the American. They're all going to have to form up. Ollikainen's almost turned around somehow. He keeps it pointing straight. Now Toivonen's clouding with, I think, Sindre Silva down the back of the pack. 4 drivers to the Joker, 3 to the normal line. I'm not looking forward to the exit of this.
Amazingly, they've all kind of made it through as Ollikainen, rather forceful move on Matrani to get up into third place. But Fox, an awful getaway from pole position. He won't be happy with that, and he'll be thinking of how he didn't quite get that away, and we'll be working on that if he does qualify into that feature race. But yeah, Garrett Mains out the front in the VW, ahead of the rest of the pack, led by Fox.
So let's see how the graphic updates here. So Mains to the Joker, Fox as well. Ollikainen, I don't think took to it. Yeah, that's correct. So it's Lowe and Silva. Those are the other 2 cars. Rest of the 3 still yet to take it. Josh Fox, who won his only career feature race here back in 2018, round 7. He's going to have a tough asking to pass Garrett Mains, who's made half the feature races this season so far. There is the Williams Esports driver on screen. And Josh Fox also has some real-world experience himself, so we're not accustomed to seeing his face when it comes to racing. No helmet this time round for the Pennsylvania.
Yeah, fortunately you don't need that in the sim, that's for sure, as on board, on the roof of this Subaru, as we're going into the dirt section, although with the way these drivers are driving, they're wearing that dirt line away down to the asphalt. So really wearing this track in rather quickly here.
It's a good point you bring up. We do have virtual track resets, as Fox here is being hunted down by Joni Ollikainen for that transfer position. But Fox is also catching Garrett Mains. This is a very good circuit to overtake on. By the way, have you ever seen someone sim race with a helmet on?
I'm sure there's somebody out there that does it for the immersion, but I wouldn't advise it.
I hope there isn't someone out there who does it.
No,
Tyler Maxon, I was going to say, Tyler Maxon, our producer, said he's done it. I'll throw him under the bus. Here's Ollikainen, though. You spoke about it. Still got a Joker up his sleeve.
Yeah, that's exactly the point I was going to make. He's got the Joker. He's got the inside as well. He's got the nose to the inside, but that's the outside now for the hairpin. Trying to get the cutback. It's not quite worked. But if he's within that 2/10 when he takes the Joker this time by, then he's maybe got a chance of getting ahead of Fox. Here we go.
The gap just looks too slim. Although he's going to launch it into the Joker. We saw this last year between Trogan and Heikkinen. in the Set Esports cars. This time he's going to have to form up. Still got a couple of overtaking opportunities left. He's trying to push as hard as he can. He's trying to use that worn-up line, which is almost worn down to tarmac at this stage of the heat. And there's an overtaking spot for Olli Kainen into turn 5. I think he's just way too far back. You got to think race stewards. You got to think penalties. You can't just send it in like that. Mains and Fox to the Joker. Olli Kainen to your Marwin Sports LCQs. Didn't think I'd say that much this season.
Yeah, that's again, Olli Kainen, yeah, just missing out on that. But Mains and Fox, great performance by those two at the top.
Yeah, Olli Kainen's only been to 2 Marwin Sports LCQs. He won one of them, and we know what happened in round number 1. Could have won that one had it not been for a collision with the man that won this heat, Garrett Mains, for Dreyer and Reinbold Racing. So the Volkswagen Beetle makes it through. Time to look at your final heat grid of the day. And the 2 Robertson brothers racing just rooms apart, and they're alongside each other on the grid here. It's almost as if it's quite a very accurate simulation. They'll be probably right next to each other as Connor Parisi joins them on the outside in the US Air Force Subaru. Kilian Del Olmo had his go at NASCAR sim racing during the week. Went on the ovals, and the Frenchman trying to expand his sim racing experience with Bobby Sant Jr., who replaces. So Bobby Sant Jr. will make another appearance this round, and we'll start from the second row. Bo Albert with a penalty to his name. He'll have a 5 seconds added to his final race time. Here we go for the final heat of the day. So we go green from Lucas Oil Raceway. Important for John Robertson to get a good getaway. His brother's alongside him, and Jake Robertson, his brother, makes contact with Parisi. That's what you see in the real world too. It's so realistic. 4 drivers head to the Joker. Bo Albert 2, Parisi. I see Kilian Del Olmo. And they try to form up here with Bobby Sant Jr. He's not new to the World Championship. He raced here last year, replacing Cabot Bigham this round. Clouting the wall seemed like it was Connor Parisi. He's down to the back of the pack from the front row.
Yeah, Bo Albert up ahead of him, of course, to get that penalty, but Parisi not having the best of opening laps right there, so he's struggled a little bit here early on. There you see the US Air Force car as around the final corner they come to end the lap. The scoreboard on the side there, you'll see those Joker symbols light up to show those drivers who have taken to the Joker lap already. That resets at the end of a lap here.
So with 3 drivers in the front row, this will be a second row start for the heat winner in this heat. How about that from Frenchman Del Olmo? He's trying to make a pass on Jake Robertson for a transfer position. Jake Robinson's been very impressive, Paul. He's the youngest driver in the field. Seemed like he locked up there, didn't it?
Yeah.
But he looks like he could follow in the footsteps of his brother sometime soon in the next few years.
Yeah, he's got a few years development yet still to go. He's really got the opportunity and the skill. It's just all about that consistency, all about keeping in trouble. And that's something that Jake will be working on as they go on through the dirt section. But yeah, Del Olmo putting all sorts of pressure, and it's really challenging Jake in front of him.
And this has got to be personal for Kilian Del Olmo, because he's only made 1 feature race all season, potentially another overtaking opportunity. And we're going to keep track of this one because this is critical. Jake Robertson's at least helping his brother out, so he's doing something for the family. Probably won't have to cook dinner later today, and if he already doesn't do so. And right behind them, we see a couple of Jokers just in the back of shot there. So it's a nice scrap. Bo Albert with the 5-second penalty with Bobby Sant Jr. and Parisi, all for good grid position in your Marwin Sports LCQ. You see how the front nose dips there, Paul? So that was Del Olmo actually tapping the brake to get the car lowered over the jump.
Hit the inside wall there, did Del Olmo. That's costing him about half a second, maybe a second there. Big mistake to make around that corner. It's so difficult around there with the walls being so close to the side of the track. And that allows Jake Robertson just to relax just that little bit.
Yeah, so they're almost definitely pushing the Frenchman. We're in the US. It's an oval circuit is Lucas Oil, a short one, 7/8 mile oval. Had some NASCAR experience, like we said, during the week. Just trying to expand his sim racing repertoire. Is that a French word, that, Paul? I'm not sure. Repertoire?
It sounds French, but...
It sounds French, doesn't it?
But John Robertson, what a performance from the front to the checkered flag.
Yeah, you got the red banner on the windshield. That is to identify that he's the championship leader. But he's not been as quick over the past few rounds to win this championship. He's falling behind. That gap is being dwindled down by his teammate, by De Jong, by many others. But he and his brother head through to your feature race. 2.5 years difference between them. And 1.9 seconds at the end of the day. The other Ed Carpenter racing car, Parisi, what a poor heat for him. And Bo Albert, now there we go. The penalty applies there live. Those will be your official results because we've got to go official for your Marwood Sports LCQ. Bo Albert at least doesn't finish last. Bobby Sant Jr. had issues in that heat and will end up last. So let's look at the grid for your first of two last chance qualifiers. Otto Taskinen on pole, who won here last year, who is the oldest winner in the series at 25 years of age. Ollie Kynan alongside him on the front row. Adria Perez, the Spaniard, in third. He's got some good pace. There's the Spaniard. And then you've got Garrett Lowe, Marcos Matamoros on the second row. Three Spaniards in your top 6 positions, as Daniel Matrani is also here. Cycling through the rest of the order, there are 9 cars in this LCQ. Matt Busa, who replaced your 2019 champion earlier in the season. How about Rasmus Toivonen? Injured his shoulder just a few weeks ago at Spain in Super 1600. Takes his talents to the sim. Be glad there won't be any injuries from any accidents here today. Lights illuminate for the first Marwood Sports LCQ. We go green from Lucas Oil Raceway. Good getaway from Taskinen. The entire field's going for the high line. 12 degrees of banking through the final corner. They'll cross the start-finish line. Who's going to take to the Joker? Ollie Kynan dives to the inside. Only one will advance to the feature. Now, was that Rasmus Toivonen who made a mockery of the entry indecision? And now there's more collisions. This will only help Ollie Kynan in the lead.
Oh, Taskinen is the one who got involved there with Garrett Lowe. And that's why... And Taskinen's dropped all the way down to the back of the field. So he's the one who's come out worse of that. There's a car rolling up and over. That's Marcos Matamoros.
Oh, no, the Spaniard. He's had no luck to his side. There he is on his roof. The E-Racer GG Beetle, that's his day done. We see 3 wide here at the exit of turn 5. Somehow Toivonen, I thought he clouded the barrier. That was, I'm not sure if anyone wants to cycle back to that later on, but it did look quite hilarious as Toivonen made some indecision. Krogstad to the Joker. Garrett Lowe up ahead in second. Oh, this is not going to end well. Oh, these drivers are trying to keep it clean. They hit the wall just like De Jong did here in 2017. That ended his race. And more argy-bargy through 4.
Now that's not needed at all. Daniel Matrana getting involved then. And I'm sure that the officials will have a look at that after the event. But these drivers, generally, out there today, the racing is being clean. I just think people are getting a little bit too excited out there.
I'll tell you what, for the track design and this circuit, this is clean. We've had some bad events here in the past, I'll tell you that much. And Ollie Kynan on 2 wheels through turn 2. And he's going to run away with the transfer position. There's only one available in this Marwood Sports LCQ, so he'll start from the back row along with whoever advances later on. Good to see Garrett Lowe back on the grid, Paul. He raced in the Legends Worlds Finals last week at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. That was in motorsport, not in sim racing.
Oh, there you go. Dropping fact bombs on me right there, Jonathan, as we're heading through. But yeah, we're on lap 4 of 5, and Krogstad. This is all about pride now, trying to move his way ahead of Perez in front. But Perez, yet to take that Joker. We've seen how, with the pros here, they really have been taking advantage of that Joker and getting the inside lines. Oh, look at how close Krogstad gets to that wall once again.
It's still an important position. You don't know if anything goes wrong for Ollie Kynan, for Garrett Lowe. You never know. This could be the transfer position, but you also don't want to cop unnecessary penalties. And here is the Spaniard going to the Joker for what will potentially be the final time. And this is the apex, so it's cost him a bit of time there. It's such a difficult Joker. And there is the fin of Ollie Kynan flying. He was the top-ranked rookie coming into this season, and he missed around due to some technical issues, and despite that, he could have been up there for the championship. Who knows? It's been a luck of the draw for a lot of drivers. Regardless of that, it's been a successful rookie campaign, and he wins your Marwin Sports LCQ. He'll start from the back in your feature race. Everybody else we say goodbye to for the final time here from Lucas Oil Raceway. Matamoros on his roof. The DNF down in 9th. 6 Subarus in this field. And then we head over to look at the grid for your second of 2 Marwin Sports LCQs. 10 cars in this one. That's a great front row. Very speedy drivers there. From Makinen to Lamansivu, the 2 teammates. They'll be dicing for 1 transfer position. Lamansivu, a race winner. Parisi and Heikkinen. Heikkinen, we spoke about his brother scoring 2 pole positions here in World Championship history back in 2018. Bo Albert, after his penalty, will start from 6th. Down the rest of the field includes Luke Kraus, Bobby Sant Jr., who takes over Cabot Bigham's Dirtfish Subaru for Jim Beaver Esports. We've got Luke Kraus as well in his second World Championship appearance. Norwegian Sindre Silva will start from the back. Silva, who you can identify with the orange top on that Subaru, recently signed with Fox Gaming. It's an esports team in Norway. Does some Counter-Strike and some other stuff. Be trying to snipe 9 cars ahead of him out of the way, you could say. So we're ready to go for the second of 2 Marwin Sports LCQs. Going nowhere off the line is Bobby Sant Jr. What an awful getaway. This is a great shot to begin the race here. Makinen, no. At least he has track position, but Del Olmo to the inside. That's a great jump. I reckon take the Joker, mate. He does. The Frenchman with great decision will have to defend from Alari Lamansivu. Lamansivu to second around the outside. He's turned around. That can cause chaos, and we've had the big one for the first time.
Yeah, that was a long time coming there, but what that's done is basically given Kylian Del Olmo the opportunity to seal his spot in that feature race. So huge errors there. Bobby Sant Jr. is taking a tour back to the garages, so he is done for this one as now they come through. So yeah, big drama early on, and now this is just about being the best of the rest.
I will say this, if Kylian Del Olmo wins this, he won it on lap 1. You would say?
I wouldn't disagree with that, that's for sure.
Yeah, he ended up just screaming through the pack there around the outside. What a great getaway. It was all on Makinen. He had the track position, but just something went wrong for the Chad Reed 22 Motorsports driver. And both he and his teammate are down the back end of the order with Bobby Sant Jr. And Lamansivu now as well falling down the order. So we think there's issues for the Finn, who was our round 1 winner. Very good guy is Alari Lamansivu. We'll be back hopefully next week at Phoenix unscathed. I don't think he's pretty clear on penalty points, so that shouldn't be an issue. And here is Del Olmo being hunted down by US Air Force driver Connor Parisi, who just recently ended his service with the US Air Force.
Yeah, so great to see him be able to represent his branch of the armed forces. Del Olmo takes quite an exuberant line through that hairpin.
Yeah, he does.
Whereas Parisi likes to keep it nice and tidy through there, I've noticed. So different styles there. And in fact, Del Olmo, he was being caught in that last lap. Well, this lap, I do believe he has gone even quicker. Yes, he's pulled out that gap back at the front of the field.
Yeah, Del Olmo is the youngest of 3 brothers, and they're all very quick in rallycross machinery on the sim. And if you remember back to round 1, we were missing Del Olmo from the grid in one of the heats, and he actually missed it because he was racing in another Esport World Championship, and so he had to pick, okay, whichever grid goes first, I'm going to have to race in that one, and it ended up colliding with his iRacing, sim racing commitments, and so he was a bit shattered about that. But anyway, back here again, and should take the transfer position as we head into the final lap of the race. Is that Heikkinen on screen? It is. That's one way to take the anti-cut strips. Final lap, Paul. Yeah, go on.
Not been a good day for Salas or Boel, but having to cut those penalties served their time, and unfortunately for them, getting involved in all that snarl up at the start of the race. But Delorme, what a performance here, and as you say, won it on lap 1.
And that mean mug will head through to the feature. He's ready to go, focused. And Killian heads through to your feature. We'll start alongside Olli Kainen, alongside his teammate. This is the Team GRX portion of the Set Promotion team. Set Promotion and UC Pinamaki running 4 cars this year, as they teamed up with Gronholm RX, who also race in the FIA World Rallycross Championship. There are the results on screen. We're going to head towards a warm-up session. There's going to be a virtual track reset for our drivers, just like we would have in the real world. They'll get topped up with some dirt. The driver's going to head out there and try and wear up this track a little bit. So we're going to preview your feature race and a whole lot more, because it's a big one coming up. Remember, there's a championship on the line here for some of our drivers. It's all coming up on the other side of this. Don't leave us. Back here from Lucas Oil Raceway. It's been a classic race so far. It's always enjoyable here. This track sparks up some action, with its great overtaking spots. The Joker, we could discuss another day, can be slightly more interesting, but the track is enjoyable. The drivers seem to enjoy this one. And we've got a feature race coming up. From Jonathan Simon, I'm alongside Paul Smith. Our faces are on the broadcast yet again. Paul, good to see you one more time. Now, we're heading into an important feature here, and I look at the grid. Johan Hart on the front row alongside Mitchell de Jong. Mitchell de Jong hasn't won a race this season, has never won at Lucas Oil. We've had a rallycross champion in the past, Jonny Weeman, back in 2014. He won a championship without a race win. Do we think de Jong can do the same if he doesn't win today?
It's not beyond the realms of possibility, that's for sure. Don't forget the dark horse there, Josh Fox, previous winner here as well on that front row, so he could be a good shout for that one. John Robertson will be just hanging around on the second row going, what are you guys up to at the start? Let's see what happens here.
Yeah, he hasn't won a race for quite some time, not since round 2 at Daytona. Since Atlanta, I should say, for round number 3. Now, if you look behind me, you can see the sunlight starting to come in. It's 6:45 in the morning. I probably got some black eyes here because I haven't slept all night. And that's what Bo Albert is racing in, Paul, right now. He's ended his event. He hasn't made the feature, but he's had to cope with conditions like this. Tough for the Aussie who has to race in a different time zone.
Yeah, time zone is always a tricky one for those competing in World Championship Series, and it shows the level of commitment that these drivers take, that they set themselves up for these events, and you see some of the performances that you get out of some of the Antipodeans, and really they do a fantastic job considering that disadvantage of the time difference.
Now, Bo spoke to me pre-season, Paul, and he said, look out for Garrett Maines this campaign in his second ever championship in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship. His best finish was 4th. He starts 3rd today on the front row. Can the American score his first podium? He's improving round to round.
He's certainly doing a good job out there, isn't he? And getting better, as you say, all along. But yeah, he's in with a shot. I don't think he's got the out-and-out pace. But when it comes to these races, it's not about who's necessarily the absolute quickest. It's who can race the quickest. That's where you win this.
And so down the order as well, we mustn't forget Tommy Horman, who's very quick. He's got some great race pace. Here are the live points up on screen. So 13 points the difference at the moment, without your feature race points being handed out. That's between your team Yokohama teammates of John Robertson and Johan Hart. And believe it or not, Paul, it was 13 points coming into the round. So for those two, they continue on here, scoring a few points each. Now, have I calculated that wrong, actually, Paul? Is my math deceiving me? Can we have the live points up again, Tyler? I want to see if I'm silly. Oh, no, it is 13. Okay, so I was correct. Okay. I thought I was a lot less smarter than I was.
It's been a long evening for
it's
you,
7
that's
a.m.
for sure. Yeah, absolutely. But I'm really looking forward to this. This should be a cracking race. 10-car grid. I mean, what could possibly go wrong here?
Well, everything can go wrong. The starts can bottleneck, as we spoke about. And we'll have a look at your grid for your final feature race for round 7 of 9 for the championship. So Mitchell de Jong on pole. Never won here at Lucas Oil. Will that change today for the Subaru Motorsports USA driver? Johan Hart, will he make it a second win in a row? Chien Marchand, the mean dog. He's trying to come through the field and win a championship for the first time in his career. Garrett Maines for Dreyer and Reinbold Racing starts alongside them on the front row. Then you've got John Robertson, championship leader, the other Team Yokohama driver in the Advan Subaru, alongside the Set Esports Subaru of Tommy Horman. Bobby Zelensky, remember the scrap he had with Johan Hart here. They unnecessarily collided in the heats, and it cost them both important points in that championship. Those two will have another dice at it here in today's feature race. So Zelensky heads that third row alongside Josh Fox, who won his only career race here from Lucas Oil back in 2018. Jake Robertson, in his first career appearance at Lucas Oil, starts alongside them. And in the back row, from the drivers who promoted themselves from the Marwin Sports LCQ, Joni Olikainen and Frenchman Kylian Dalomo, who represents Set Promotions Gronholm RX. Paul, tips for today. I think Mitchell de Jong looks unstoppable, but we know how quick Johan Hart can be.
I think Johan has got a really good opportunity. Mitchell's been strong, especially in that heat race of his. Garrett Maines, a little bit of a dark horse on the outside of the start here. You never know. But it's all about keeping yourself out of trouble and to keep it clean. And that's exactly what these drivers have got to do here. But they're preparing themselves. They're on the grid. But it's almost go time here.
I think for Johan Hart, he's going to have to win this race on lap 1. 10 laps of action. 1 joker available for the drivers, but there's a championship on the charge here with 3 rounds remaining. And we go green from Lucas Oil Raceway for the final time. Great getaway from Subaru's Mitchell de Jong. Hart has been boxed in. He ducks to the inside. He may take the lead here. They might open the door for Garrett Maines on the outside. Garrett Maines clouts the barrier. De Jong, though, to the joker. This is a scrap between him and the Smithfield VW. This is where it bottlenecks. Everybody's into the wall, and that can open the door for Hart. He's going to cop a slowdown penalty.
Oh, this is Mitchell's to lose right now. Garrett Maines, an absolute nightmare of an opening to that race. Turn 1 just did not work out for him. They're still battling away on, but Maines is around again. So Garrett is just going from bad to worse. Josh Fox is at the back of the field out of all that as well.
And John Robertson up the inside of a couple of drivers. He made 2 positions there. He's alongside Zelensky at the final corner. We begin lap 2. Your championship leader, I'm not sure if he wanted to take to the joker, but he was boxed in by Joni Olikainen. So Garrett Maines, who was having a look at the race lead, is down to second last here at the end of the first lap. De Jong, we think, unless Tommy Horman has a case here, pace-wise, De Jong could take his first victory at Lucas Oil. Robertson, now, has he had a moment there? He's definitely working the wheel.
Oh, there is contact between him and Ollie Kynan, that's for sure. He had to back out of it, and his brother came up behind him. That's given Garrett Mains now an opportunity. You see them in the background of the shot there. So, sideways goes Jake Robertson. He drops down behind Mains. This is action-packed.
Robertson highlighted in red. He's the championship leader. His brother behind is going to have a nice tight scrap here, as with Garrett Mains and Killian Delorme's right there ready to pounce. I think they're 3 wide. They are here out of turn 4. Over the jump. This may not end well, Paul, at the end of this. It does. Oh, how about that?
Well, you never know. And into the hairpin, that's where you can throw it. Oh, and Mains gets collected. Who was that hit him? It was Jake. Jake Robertson got pushed from behind into him.
Alrighty, so there's that scrap going on for important points. Lead battle hasn't changed. Holman still has a joker up his sleeve, although only worth 0.2 of a second. Johan Harth critically ahead of his teammate John Robertson for the championship, but De Jong is ahead of them all. Here's a replay of what happened. And Robertson may bend the steering arm doing that. So talk us through this.
Yeah, so Mains puts it down the inside through here. That's all fine. That's okay. They all get on the brakes, and Josh Fox just gets into the back of Robertson, who then turns Mains there. No intention there at all. That's just unfortunate how everybody got concertinaed together there. And unfortunately for Mains, he's the one who gets off the worst.
Yeah, it certainly does. Mitchell de Jong, who this will be a good relief for him. He had no luck here in Red Bull GRC in 2017. Didn't even make the feature. His car just had so many technical issues after a shunt with Patrick Sandell and Chris Atkinson. And you could take a win here. There's Zelensky in some troubles with John Robertson. So that's another position for your championship challenger. But Zelensky up the inside will reclaim a top 5 position.
Yeah, Zelensky, Robertson's just not really had the pace this week, has he? But all he needs to do, really is just get points. He needs to just score points. That's all he needs to worry about here. Yes, his championship rivals, Mitchell de Jong and also Johan Hart at the top of these standings are first and third. But look into the inside of Zelensky. Look at this, he's got an intent there. He's not giving this one up, that's for sure, is John. But right now he just needs to get himself points here.
I'm looking at you on Zoom, Paul. You can tell both of us are just sort of swinging back here as he made that move. And believe it or not, Zelensky has never, as we watched John Robertson try to make a move on Zelensky, Zelensky's only finished in the top 5 this season once, 5th. That was his best finish. A man who scored so many podiums, was expected to finally break the duck and score a feature win. Almost won an eNASCAR championship. Races in the Porsche Esports Super Cup. And I'm going to stop there because there's so much more. What can't this American achieve? And just like his dear own LA Lakers, trying to win a championship hopefully sometime soon for Bobby Zelensky. So a couple laps to go here. Holman yet to use that joker. The gap is 1.3 between himself and de Jong. We think de Jong is going to win this race. There is the Subaru Motorsports USA driver. It'll be his first win from Lucas Oil Raceway. The track is getting worn like there's no tomorrow, and that's going to make overtaking difficult here for Robertson, who needs a top 5 spot on Zelensky too.
Yeah, Zelensky, he did have the gap over Zelensky though, don't forget, so at least he's not got to worry about that too much. But yeah, Tommy Holman, he wants a good result here after the trials and tribulations that he's had this season. But de Jong, he's wanting another championship. He wants to give himself the best opportunity to get a championship, and he doesn't want to do it by not winning a single race. You can see the live points. Look at how everything's just closing up, and Robertson only with an 8-point lead over his teammate, and Mitchell de Jong, he's trying to catch that one up.
Well, we know the championship can't be wrapped up today. By the way, while you were speaking, that was at least about a 30-meter two-wheel hop by Mitchell de Jong through turn number 2. Final lap of the race. Horman to the Joker. It's not going to be enough for the Finn, but it'll be another podium. And the championship is being clawed in. 8 points between your Team Yokohama drivers, but Mitchell de Jong is going to claim his first race win of the season. I never thought I'd say that 7 rounds into a Rallycross championship. He won 50 in a row when Rallycross was released on the iRacing service. And here he is, Mitchell de Jong, winner from Lucas Oil Raceway for round 7, and his first victory of the season for Subaru Motorsports USA. And the championship charge continues for the American. He looks poised. He acts like he's done this before, and I tell you what, he has done this many, many times before. It is his 11th career victory in 25 starts.
While we had him on camera, he didn't even crack a smile. That just goes to show that, he'll be happy that he's won. Don't get me wrong, he'll be delighted with that. But Mitchell, he's calm, cool, and collected there. And I'm sure when he joins us for an interview, he'll be a bit more animated.
Well, he's done this many, many times before. He knows that this win is important for the championship charge, but he's still got a long way to go to win this 2020 championship. 2018 because he won that one. That's why I made that error. Tommy Horman ends up on the podium. Finally, after his poor round at Sonoma, he'll be glad with that one. Said Esports come home 2nd and 4th. Ollie Kynan from the back. Remember, he started 9th. Ends up in 4th and avoided all the carnage. But great for Frenchman Johan Harth. He ends up with a podium, and they each, both de Jong and Harth, claw back the championship lead of John Robertson. Robertson has been consistent. He's the only driver to make every feature race this season. But consistency only means so much, because 8 points the gap with 2 rounds remaining. How is this going to fare for the 18-year-old from Aylesbury in the United Kingdom? He ended up ahead of Zelensky, so Robertson has made that move into the top 5 on Bobby Zelensky there. So we'll try and get some word on what happened. And Bobby Zelensky ended up in 6th at the end of the day. Kylian Delormeau, the Frenchman, 7th. That's a career best result for him. Kylian Delormeau in his career in his 2nd feature appearance. Hanson Williams Esports driver Josh Fox at the circuit he was victor at in Rallycross, ends up 8th. And then Jake Robertson, the brother of the championship leader John Robertson in the number 21 Ed Carpenter Racing Subaru, ends up 9th. And then the only non-Subaru, the Smithfield Beetle, Garrett Maines, ended up last, was looking at the race lead on lap 1 into turn 1. And unfortunately after that was carnage. And Garrett, we know, he's got a bit of a hot head on him. He won't be happy about that. But the motivation will be high. He's a hard worker, he's quick, and he'll be back next week with high motivation to make amends for that start here today. So we're going to speak to your top 3 as usual. We're going to get words from de Jong, from Horman, from Harth. We're going to wrap up this event, preview the next one. It's all coming up in our post-race show. Don't leave us. Paul Smith and I are going to give you all that on the other side of this.
Take your driving to the next level at Dirtfish. Gain confidence behind the wheel of an all-wheel drive Subaru STI or rear-wheel drive BRZ. Get sideways with skills on gravel, mud, and tarmac. Dirtfish offers programs for every driver. Visit dirtfish.com for details.
Today's new cars have upwards of 100 computers in them and a dashboard rivaled only by a commercial airliner. But wouldn't it be nice to really know what all that does for you?
At Roadshow, we demystify the world of modern transportation with reviews of your next car, the latest news on what's changing the industry, and videos covering every screen and every new feature you'll encounter in the driver's seat.
Get informed, get smart, and get going with Roadshow.
All right, so this championship is going down to the wire. Lucas Oil Raceway never disappoints, never had a repeat winner here. Mitchell de Jong wins his first career event here from the racetrack, and it's important for his championship Taj. Mitchell, congratulations. But not only is this your first career race win here, you're looking forward to that championship, aren't you? You're hunting it down.
For sure. Thank you very much. It feels really good to finally put a event together. I think at this point, like I said, kind of on my own stream last time around after another bad result, it was just like we need to basically go out and just win all the rest of the races and hope, in the end of it, we can end up fighting for the championship. This is another really solid day. Lucas Oil is always a scary one because of turn one, especially if you're the pole sitter. It's really not the ideal line. So thankfully, we just kind of just had an ideal situation in both the heat race and the feature there, just to be able to take the Joker right off the bat and escape the carnage. So also had Tommy hunting me down as well. So keeping the pressure on as the track's developing. Really good fun. But man, I'm so stoked that we finally got one.
Yeah, and it's important for the championship, man, because like we said, it's your first career win. We thought you were going to do a Yoni Weeman this season, maybe win a GRC title like he did without a race win, but that's not where you belong. We watched you cross the line. You won the race. It seemed like you'd done this before, and you have. Your 11th career win. Is that your attitude to these things? Like, a win's important. It's great. It's a good feeling, but there's still a more important goal there to fight.
For sure. I mean, at the end of the day, we want the championship. That's the whole prize here. So, we missed out on the last year due to circumstances, and I'd love to get it back again. We just go for race wins now. I mean, we're not in the most ideal situation in terms of points. However, we are still in fighting distance. And really, for me, I just need to go out and have fun, try to put together good results and get some wins. So, I mean, that's all we can do at this point. And, we'll just hope we can put together at the end.
Hey, I always give some flack to every driver. I know Jared Filsell, he signed with Red Bull in the Supercars E-Series. I always give him flack for the Red Bull fridges. I love him. Can we get our entire commentary team one, or do we need a Red Bull sponsorship like you? It looks awesome.
Shoot, I mean, we'll have to work it out. Message me after. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, no, they're cool. And I think in the background there, you can probably see my own. We had to use quite a lot of them this week to stay up motivated to practice. So it's a good tool for that.
Now, can we talk about your GRC event here in 2017? So you had a lot of bad luck. You were on the outside of Sandell and Atkinson into the wall. You tried to repair the car, could never get back out on the racetrack. Thankfully, you didn't have that kind of luck today.
Yes, for sure. If I'm honest, Lucas Oil in the real world and in the sim has never been a good one for me. Just for some reason, we always have bad luck. And, in real life in 2017, that was a classic case of that. We had freak things go wrong and take us out of the races. Even though I felt good in those events in the real world, it was not a good one. So, I mean, we're trying to bring it back, bring the luck back, at least on the virtual side. So, yeah.
And finally, I'll let you go on this, but there's never been a hat trick at Lucas Oil until you today. So you've taken pole, the heat win, the race victory. It goes to show that the racing today, it wasn't the cleanest you can get in Rallycross on iRacing, but we were expecting it to be much worse. Lucas Oil, that turn one definitely invites a lot of carnage, right?
No doubt. This is one that I think everyone can predict will be one of the most carnage-filled events. It wasn't the case at all. Even through all of the heats, I mean, I think hats off to all the drivers for really keeping it clean. I mean, it's so easy for things to go wrong in turn one and stuff like that here, but I think everyone did a really good job this weekend. Hopefully we can keep it up for the rest of the season. I think it's something we all desperately need. Just have some clean races, good battles like we had today, and I'll go from there.
Yeah, awesome. All right, we'll leave you to it, man. By the way, I can actually ask, are those goggles for the sim to avoid all the sort of the what would you call it?
Blue light.
The blue light. That's it.
Yeah. I honestly, they actually work. I was surprised. I was on the fence about if they actually did something until I got them, and for real, my eyes feel great at the end of the day.
All right. Well, I'll give you the glasses. You give me the Red Bull fridge, and I'll see you next week, hopefully. And in the top 3, mate. But we'll leave you to it. That's Mitchell de Jong with another race victory. Congrats again, mate. And we're going to head to Paul Smith, who's alongside Tommy Horman, the Finn, who ends up with another podium to his name.
Well, that's it. Tommy Horman from Set Esports. Well, we either see you either not qualifying for these features or getting onto the podium. Another second place for you this season. How was that for yourself out there?
Yeah, thanks. It was quite chaotic beginning of the feature again, and luckily
we've got Tommy now. Go ahead, Tommy.
Okay, yeah, thanks. So, quite chaotic start of the race, and luckily we survived without bigger contacts, and then just tried to catch Mitchell, but it was too much to ask. He was going really well, and also had to keep eye on Johan as well. So I think it was a good comeback after misfortune in Sonoma, and of course I think here I did more of the testing in the feature sort of track state, and I knew that here anything can happen, so the qualifying is not as important as the feature itself. So I think it worked out well.
Yeah, we saw you getting involved in that opening of the race there with Garrett Mains and also Johan Hart as well. But it did mean that when Johan got his slowdown penalty, you did get into second place. So was it just a case of just focusing, trying to keep up, trying to catch up to Mitchell to try and get the win, and not really focus on anyone else behind you?
I think at some point I tried to really do fast laps and catch him, but I couldn't really make the difference, and then I think the last 2 laps I tried really hard to catch again, because I know that I had the Joker still to do, and hope that if I can catch a bit, maybe I can come next to him in the merge, but I was too far, and then just thinking that don't get anything like slowdown or stuff like that, so just to keep the second place.
Well, we're heading into the final 2 rounds of the championship here. You're still in with a shout of the championship, so you need to just keep on getting these good results and hope that the others have some sort of issues, really, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's now all about getting top 3 results and hopefully wins as well. But honestly, the championship win is quite a bit, I think, impossible at the moment. But yeah, we just keep on going and see what happens.
Well, you never say never, because Rallycross, you always have the drama. But yeah, how have you felt that this season has gone for yourself, though? Really,
I think it has been really up and down all the time. So as you said, I think I've been in the podium all the times I have been in the feature races, but then also quite many times in the LCQ. So really up and down, but hopefully we can start now building a bit more steady line towards the end of the season.
Well, Tommy, thanks very much for joining us here, and all the best for the final 2 rounds of the championship. And Jonathan, I believe you've got our 3rd placed man, Johan Hart.
I've got the man who I have many nicknames for. You've got the Rolling Turtle. You've got Chien Marchand. What else, Johan, can I say after that podium?
Mr. Luck, I guess, yeah. If I do that last year, there is no way I'll finish P3. That was really unexpected after a slowdown in T2, so yeah, I'll take it any day.
What was the strategy? I saw you try to slow down sort of off the racing line, because that's how you avoid the penalty, but you also did it in a sense where everybody else had to sort of slow down behind you, if that made sense, so they didn't collect you. So it sort of worked out to your benefit.
I didn't really pay attention where I was on the track. I just tried to clear it as fast as possible without getting hit by another car. So yeah, kind of worked out in my favor there.
But hey, look at this, man. So Mitchell has a tough charge for the championship. There's still 2 rounds to go. You're now 8 points behind your teammate, John Robertson. People don't understand, though, in sim racing, it's not, as much as you want to beat your teammate, it's not really a rivalry. You two are good friends. You work together a lot. So even if you do come second, Tim, you'll still be happy, but I do know you do want to beat the living pants out of your teammate for this championship.
Yeah, for sure. For sure I want to beat him, but yeah, if he wins it, he deserves it, so I'll still be super happy for him no matter what happens.
So you got a couple of rounds to go. Phoenix is a great racetrack for you. Do you want me to remind you what's so good about that racetrack for you?
Well, remind me, because
You don't remember your first race win there?
Oh, yeah.
There's
Talking
that
about that
too?
one, yeah. Yeah, there is that, yeah.
Yeah, that might be a good start, man. So that was back in
yeah.
2018. It's a circuit you've fared well at, as we know. You've made the feature there every time. Pace going into that round. I think you've got to seriously take the championship lead, hopefully from John, but you've at least put the pressure on your teammate for now by claiming consistent points, which is most important.
All I need to make sure is out qualifying in the last 2 rounds. I think that's gonna be one of the keys. You get pretty big points in qualifying, and if I can out qualify him and have Mitchell and the steady sports guy slot in between, would be perfect for me.
Yeah, and also, and people should also know, Johan, people forget this, as good as you are in the World Championship, you are still the top-ranked driver in Rallycross on iRacing when it comes to iRating. So when it comes to succeeding on the Rallycross servers, you've been doing this from the start. Is there anything or any reason why you're so good on the Rallycross side of the service, or are you just typically good in sim racing? Because we know you're quick when it comes to road racing too.
Oh, when it comes to Rallycross, I'd say it comes down to how many races I've done, because I think I've got over 1,400 starts on the official side of RX on iRacing. So yeah, experience pays off there.
And Rallycross is good because 1,400 starts, but every time there's a heat or a feature, you can just go and grab a cup of coffee, do some homework in between, do some other stuff, do some university work, whatever you want to do.
No, I spent, I'd say, after a race out of my rig there. I was going downstairs, grab the coffee. It's not like Porsche where you have to be focused 100% of the time. You can have some time to chill.
Yeah, exactly. And so hopefully now in the final 2 rounds you make those features, man. But good luck for the championship.
Thanks,
I know you said this last week, is that every time you hear myself or Paul's voice, you know you've had a good round because it means you're in the top 3. So I like what you said there, and I didn't really think about that, but there you go. So good luck next week, and hopefully we hear from you.
Thanks, Johnny. Yeah, hopefully I'll come back for the next 2 rounds.
All right, Paul, that could potentially be your 2020 champion. It could potentially be Mitchell de Jong, who we spoke to earlier. It could potentially be John Robertson. We think, now we have to do the calculations here. So 29 times 2, Paul, is 58.
Yep.
I don't know if Tyler, can we get the live points up? That's what I want to know.
Tommy Holman and Johan Alekainen do mathematically still have the opportunity there, but it's going to be difficult for them. That's for sure.
Yeah, so Zelensky is out. So there's our championship leader, Robertson, in blue. So, yeah, Zelensky mathematically not in there. Good point, Paul, as well. That Ollie Kynan and Holman. Now, imagine this, Paul. Let's do... I hate doing this, but we're going to do it anyway. Let's do the bad luck charge before we go. Robertson's been the most consistent. Can't say he's had much bad luck this season. Johan Hart had that round he was punted, remember, at Norway for round 5. Cost him a lot of points. De Jong's had a couple of rounds where he had the qualifying ban, which is essentially his fault for Sonoma. Had to start from the back, involved in all the incidents. But you go back to Daytona, where he would have advanced to the feature. You got that. Hallman missed the start for round number 1. Had the technical issue last round. Ollie Kynan missed an entire round due to a technical issue. You think about 5 strong races there with a clean season each can all be worthy and deserving champions.
Yeah, they certainly can, but it's all really, for me, down to that top 3. They're the ones who've got the greatest opportunity out there. But, you never write anything off in Rallycross. I learned that last year from producing the coverage. But yeah, Robertson, he's got to be careful that he doesn't start driving inside himself. He still needs to do what has been working for him at the start of the season that got himself to the top of the championship. He needs to keep pushing at the level of the intensity that he needs to show each and every week to be able to secure that championship. He can't afford to take it easy or to back off thinking, I might not go for that move. It might cost him a championship.
Care to define that, driving inside yourself? I've never heard that before.
Yeah, so it's basically you're not driving at full intensity. You're not really on the absolute limit. You back out to moves that you think, well, I would normally make that move, but I've got a championship. it starts playing on you, does winning the championship, and it can affect people in a positive way. It can also affect them in a negative way as well.
And 6 different race winners from 7 races in this championship. Who knows who's going to win round number 8 at Phoenix in a week's time. So that's where we visit in 7 days, and then it's a fortnight until the final round, where we think, and that's where the championship will most likely go down to, at Sonoma. Phoenix, Paul, it's a good fun racetrack in Rallycross. Got some experience over there?
Yeah, it's the place where I beat Andreas Baccarin, but it's a fun track. It's a really challenging track. I always find that the Joker lap can sometimes catch you out with how tight the corner is in the middle of the Joker. That wall is very, very quick to meet the front right corner of your car and cause significant damage. So how the Joker plays out is going to be key around there, and how the cars handle the twisty nature of that circuit.
Yeah, it definitely is a twisty one. We saw Johan Harth win his first career race win there. Will he take another? Who knows? He's got to for the championship. We know De Jong's back to his race-winning form, which is good to see. And that's where we're going to see these 600 horsepower mean machines returning. That's Phoenix International Raceway in a week's time. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be the penultimate round, number 8 of the 2020 iRacing Rallycross World Championship, presented by Yokohama. All coverage, as usual, on the iRacing Esports Network. Thanks to everybody today for joining us for the broadcast, and thanks to all our fans. Thanks for all the comments. We've been on a multitude of platforms, from Facebook to Twitch to YouTube and so much more. Thanks to our series partners, Yokohama, Marwin Sports, and Dirtfish, for their support throughout the 2020 campaign. Excuse me as I try to get rid of some coughs here. Marwin Sports. Excuse me, there you go. Marwin Sports are officially present a gift pack to our feature race winner. So that's going to go to Mitchell de Jong for the first time in his 2020 campaign. From Paul Smith alongside me. Paul's always brilliant, always great fun working with you, mate. Thanks to Tyler Maxon, too, behind the scenes, along with Chris Leone, Tyler Hudson, Drew Adamson from iRacing, and our entire production crew. Thanks to Gary Weaver, too, as well, who's joined in today on Zoom. From Jonathan Simon. Hope you enjoyed the coverage today, where we crowned our winner, Mitchell de Jong, for the first time. It won't be a Yoni Weeman campaign from him if he wins the championship. We're going to say so long from Lucas Oil. What a thriller. What a championship challenge we've got coming up.